All rise.
The time is 4:33, and I hereby command the meeting. You may all be seated. Now, the clerk bring us to a roll.
All right, when I call your name, if you're here, please say present or here. Starting with Long, here. Applebaum,
Present.
Garcia Conan, present. Labar,
Present.
Chappelle,
Present.
Connell, present. Curtis,
Present.
Dresser,
Present.
Driggers,
Present.
Emery,
Present.
Ferris,
Present.
Hepler,
Present.
Inga,
Present.
Jacobs,
Present.
Jumbanath,
Present.
Kashab,
Absent.
Kovacev,
Present.
Locke,
Present.
Lorenzo,
Present.
Major,
Present.
McAfee,
Present.
McCauley,
Present.
Mansar,
Present.
Palumbo,
Present.
Parks,
Present.
Racine,
Present.
Rawat,
After my leave.
Sedlak,
Present.
Shea Islami,
Here.
Shavasana,
Present.
Soul,
Present.
Tatum,
Present.
Vitel,
Present.
Williams,
Present.
Speaker Weish,
Present.
Zaman,
Absent.
and Zandir.
Present.
Perfect. That is 35 present, 2 absent.
Beautiful. This will now bring us to the approval of the agenda. Are there any objections to the approval of the agenda? All right, I will raise an objection. So I motion to remove resolution number 52, a resolution to investigate what students want to add to the Johnson Center, striking it from new business and not moving it elsewhere. Is this seconded? Right, I'll speak briefly to it. So there was a conversation earlier today that I had with Lauren Long, the Executive Director of Student Involvement, and Advisor Kaplan is going to go into greater detail about this during her report. But essentially, the point of the resolution is to see Garner students' response as to what they'd like to see in the Flex Library. However, the next office that is going to go into that library is already set in stone and it cannot be changed. So it essentially renders this resolution not necessarily useless, but it dedicates our time towards something that the outcome of it won't even be taken into consideration. So I discussed it with Senator McAfee and also Secretary Keene, who was a main component on this resolution, and they are going to kind of reformat it and adjust it and then bring it back to the Senate at another time. But for now, I wanted to strike it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Beautiful. And with that being said, resolution number 52, a resolution to investigate what students want to add to the Johnson Center, is struck from the agenda. This will continue to bring us to the approval of the agenda. Are there any further objections to the approval of the agenda?
I'd like to move point 5 under appointment to the Executive Cabinet, the appointment of Samantha Welzer to the Undersecretary of Academics and Development position to 7th on the docket, considering she won't be here until later, and shouldn't really vote on someone who's not here.
Is this properly seconded? Seconded. Would you like to speak any further to it? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Beautiful. And it is done. So that line item shall be moved. And this will bring us back to the approval of the agenda. Are there any further objections to the approval of the agenda? All right. Seeing none, this will bring us to the approval of the journal. Are there any objections to the approval of the journal? All right, seeing none, this will now bring us to presentations, and we have a representative from the University Academics or Athletics here to give a quick presentation. So this is your time. Go for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Do you mind if I go up to the front?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Barry, yes.
No.
Yes, cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Bear gifts for everybody. And if I'm a little bit short, we promise to get more. It's great to be here. My name's Zach Bollner, I'm Deputy Athletic Director of External Affairs. with the athletic department. Do I get some snaps or anything like that? Oh, hey, great, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to pass out these sheets. These are our February athletic calendar schedules. I wanted everybody to make sure that they had one. And in fact, some of you may have not been able to make our last men's basketball game last Sunday, and we had these great caricature shirts. So wanted everybody from student government to have one and wear it proudly. Or if you didn't like it, at least give it to a family member or friend and they can wear it proudly as well. Because you can't get enough swag, right? It's a nice game. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you guys for your time. I know you have a lot going on, and we're coming here today about athletics because I'm looking for student government, and I'm asking you for your support with our athletic programs. As you begin to look at our schedule here, we have a number of really outstanding and exciting events going on during the month of February. Which include all of our sports in action, probably except maybe 15 or 16. So there's a sport for everyone. We have men's and women's basketball, we have wrestling, we have tennis, we have baseball, we have softball, we have lacrosse. The sports continue. We have men's and women's swimming. We have men's volleyball as well. And we have our indoor and outdoor track and field competitions as well. We do have golf, but usually they're competing. They're not competing on a home course on campus, but they also are competing as well. And we have rowing as well. So we have a lot of great activities going on. And we're just looking to get the support of our students to come to the event, to support their fellow students who are competing at the event as well, and having our student athletes out there. When the students are out there, there's nothing like it. There's outstanding energy. I know a lot of you have been coming to support us at different events, and we really, really appreciate it. So here's my offer out here. We have a couple exciting things coming up along the pipe. We got our National Girls and Women's in Sports celebration for our women's basketball game on February 8th at 7 p.m. We'll have an event prior at 6 o'clock acknowledging and celebrating all our great student athletes, past and present, for their great accomplishments in our National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. We have another basketball game February 11th at Rhode Island, and that game is scheduled for 2 o'clock, and we're giving away great pint glasses with Dunstan and the mascots and the Patriot as well. And then, of course, February 18th, we have our men's basketball homecoming game at 4 o'clock, where we're playing LaSalle. So I'll ask you this, as leaders of your respected organization, I would love for you guys to come out as a group, and I'd love student government to be at all, come on in, to come in and support us at all our athletic games. But if we could really make a way to get to some of these sporting events collectively, I'd like to do this. So this is what I'd like to offer, and hopefully maybe you take me off on that offer. Either for that February 11th or that February 18th game, if you all could come together as a group of student government and come and put any differences aside and come together as a university, it would be great to have special seating for you all in the student section where you could sit together. And maybe after the game, we could do a group picture on the court with the Patriot together collectively. Even add a couple players if you feel like you want to do that as well. Something that you could use for social media to show that student government was together at an athletic event. Something to use for publicity for your own social media platforms. But really maybe something to engage all of our students to come to games. It's nice to see y'all in person. We haven't done this. I haven't been to one of these meetings in a couple years. I know they've all been Zoom-like, so it's nice to see everybody here in person and to have conversations. It's nice to be able to see everybody's faces. I know we were all covered up because of the mask and things of that nature with COVID, so it's good to have everybody back. And it's been a difficult transition coming back because this year, classes started a little bit later in the semester. So we're like a week behind all the other institutions across the area because school started so late. So a lot of our athletic events haven't had students at the game because you guys have been off campus and we haven't had class here. So I just ask if it's something that you would like. I'm more than happy to contact you and leave my contact information. And if there's something that we can do to make the athletic experience better, if there's something that the students would like that we don't know, your peers like, or if anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to anything that we can do to really cultivate that atmosphere. Your fellow peers, your fellow students, they really thrive when you're at the building, when you're in games, when you're at the stadium for baseball, for all of their competitions. It's cool, you know? You make the most noise, you create the most excitement, you create the most energy. It's an energy this old guy can't create. You know, it's authentic energy that you have that's special. And so we want to invite you. The athletic field is your home, your place, to have fun, to enjoy excitement. We have some great promos that you can see that are here. And I really appreciate your time. Pick up a shirt, take a shirt. We got all different kinds of sizes, from small to medium to large to extra large. You can take a shirt and wear it proudly. Does anybody have any questions, suggestions, recommendations before I leave? Yes.
Is it possible that you could leave any member of student government or the A team your contact info so we could?
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that. I will go into my bag of tricks and provide my card and my information as well. But happy to do that. If you don't mind, I'm a guy who sometimes secures data. How many of you have been to a men's or women's basketball game this year? Okay, show of hands, good. How many of you have been to a men's or women's basketball game since you returned from the semester break? Uh-oh, got to get those numbers better, and that's what I fear. Back in the beginning, everybody comes to the first gold rush or some of the games, and then we don't see everybody until homecoming. So that's too long. So that's why I wanted to provide the schedule. I realize there's a lot of responsibilities that you have with work, with academics, with personal life, with things that you're doing. So we just want to try to get as much information to you as possible so you can consider joining us. How many of you people have before I had this presentation, thought about coming to a future men's or women's basketball game or any other athletic sport? All right, so that's great. Anything I'm missing out? Any suggestions, recommendations?
I have a quick question. So you said...
I'm sorry, what's your name?
My name is Zia Parks.
Hi, Zia.
Hello. I had a quick question about the men's basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
You said the 11th or the 18th, and when will we need to notify you by?
So you all have free tickets. So if you decide to go individually, you can just go onto the Mason Ticket app and get your ticket. But if you decide that you want to do something as a group, we're pretty flexible. For the 11th, if you had 2 or 3 or 4 days before the game, to let me know, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to save you seats in the student section, if you need 25, 30, 40 seats. The whole idea is for you guys to sit together and enjoy the game together. And then I'd like to take a logo and welcome you on the video board. And then I'd also just like to make arrangements with Eagle Bank Arena afterwards that says, hey, we have 50 students coming on the court, and make sure that we do that in a manner as well, so it can be fun. Plus, it's good to find out some ideas that you like. If there's something during the game that you've seen at past games, I go to our marketing people and I say, hey, we talked with student government, they had this suggestion, they would like this. We've had things before that we like more students want to be on the dance camp because they like being on the so we try to do more of the dance camps and things like that, or more promotions or different things of that nature. So the earlier you can tell us, the better we can provide a first-class experience. Because my idea is, it's great that you're coming to a group, but I would love if you just came on your own and came to the games, and you guys are the leaders of George Mason. You know, you're leading the charge. So you have a heavy weight in how people feel and how your fellow students respond. And so we just want to make athletics a part of your daily experience. I know that there's a lot going on, but the more we create that culture of going to sports, like, the more exciting things that we can do. It's a great payoff for our student athletes. And I want you to know something, like, if they can do something to help the organization as well, like, they would like to do that as well. So if there's a member of a student athlete, if there's a member there that you'd like, you know, we'd love to have some collaboration in anything that you're doing as far as activities of where athletics can be a partner. Anything else? Okay, well, I thank you. Yes.
How would you like
What's your name, sir?
I'm Aiden Jacobs.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Would you like to see student government maybe host some events, maybe before, lead up to the game, maybe during the same days of the game, hosting events to try to build support not only for maybe men's basketballs, but other
Yeah, I would love it. I think, you know, like, when I think about the spring, and maybe we can do this as well. Like, there are some times where we have spring days where, and that's a great question, where we have a baseball game going on, and a women's lacrosse game going on, and a softball game going on, and we can look at those dates, and the weather is beautiful, and we can have some type of barbecue and food and activities to get everybody there. I know what everybody does for Gold Rush is like a really fantastic thing, and what you do for homecoming is a great thing as well. So yeah, any type of collaboration that we can do leading up to it or the day up, we're very open to it. I'm willing to try anything. I mean, I was doling out burritos last Sunday, you know, breakfast burritos prior to the game to get students to come out, you know, because we realized, hey, it's a 12 o'clock game, got to get there by 11 probably to eat. So we're willing to do any and all activities. And I think, you know, if we start to do these and they start to become successful, then I guess they call that word tradition, and then it becomes something that's really cool. I think we got a great tradition with Gold Rush. I think we have a great tradition with homecoming, with tailgating. And like, I could put 100 things on the board, but it's not going to be authentic and organic. It's more going to become from the students, from what you see and what you hear, because you're around it every day. Like, you know what's cool, you know what is, what works. I know what was cool about 30 years ago. You know, it's just not going to be the same kind of cool thing right now. But I tried, and we're all going to try, and we all want to really, really do everything we can to make it a really great experience for everybody involved. So, anything else? I know I've taken a lot of your time, but at least you're walking away with a shirt, right? And I'll make sure to get the contact information. Well, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for your leadership and your support and your undivided attention and some of the great questions that you've asked. And we look forward to having you come together, either men's game, women's game, both games, or any of our other athletic competitions, whether it's volleyball or wrestling or track and field. And we promise to do some things to acknowledge what a great job that student government does, and at the same time maybe have some good entertaining fun. And I can promise you this, your energy being in the crowd, it'll help us ultimately get some wins. So that's something that's really important to us. You know, that's really important to have a good time. So thank you very much. Thank you again.
Thank you.
You guys are too kind.
Alrighty, this will now take us out of presentations and into the election of committee chairs, starting and ending with the election of the chair of the University Life Committee. So how this process will work, like many things, if you were here when all the lead team and the current chairs were here, you kind of already know how the process goes. But in case you weren't, it's going to start off with 3 rounds of nominations, where you can either choose to nominate yourself, or someone, if you coordinated it beforehand, can nominate you. And then once said person is nominated, they have to say whether they accept or decline the nomination. If someone nominates you and you don't want to do it, then you do have the right to say no. After the nomination cycle, we'll go into the candidate statements. So we'll go one by one. Then we'll also go into questions for any given candidate or candidates. And last but not least, we'll do a round of discussion debate. So the candidates won't be in here, and then we'll vote. And if it's a clear winner, it's simple majority for this. If, let's say there's 2 people and someone has a simple majority, they then become the chair of the university-wide committee. However, let's say there's maybe 3 people and there isn't a simple majority, then we have to go through at least 2 rounds of voting before someone can motion to take someone off of the ballot. And then hopefully by that time we'll have a simple majority. But who knows, maybe there'll only be like 1 person. So, with that being said, we will now open up the first round of nominations. Are there any nominations? I don't have to Secretary Emery.
I nominate Senator Musar.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept.
Alrighty. Down. All right, this will close the first round of nominations and open up the second round of nominations. Are there any more nominations? Senator Cogason.
I vote to nominate myself.
And you accept your nomination?
Yes.
Okay, dokie. This will close the second round of nominations and open up the third round of nominations. Clerk Connell.
I nominate Secretary Williams.
All right, Secretary Williams, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Okay, dokie. And then, are there any more nominations? All right, seeing none, this will close the third round of nominations, and this will now bring us into our candidate statements. So we'll start off in the order that they were nominated. So, Senator Moonsar, do you have a candidate statement?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Munisar, and that is Erica-Munisar, and I would like to accept the nomination for Chair of University Life Committee. Within the committee, I seek to work with the Undersecretary of Wellbeing and Safety, Cassandra Baker, Undersecretary for Student Involvement, Pierce Landon, Undersecretary for Athletics, Yazan Al-Shahi, Undersecretary of Contemporary Student Services, Ethan Ricardo, and Undersecretary of Title IX, Molly Sullivan. Senate and PR are involved. They all do hard work. My pitch today will be focused on the idea of valuing actions over words, as it is my firm belief that a person's actions will always precede their character. The explained actions I have taken this year will show that they have been specifically tailored to fit the needs of this position. It has been brought to my attention that, before anything, some anticipate I will spearhead my ownership of the Friends service I run at Mason, which consists of over 1,000 students on this campus and 300 more across Virginia. I will be doing that today. I currently run a service that I was able to grow exponentially in months because I understand there's a great need for foundations at Mason. Resulting in my work was a community I never knew existed at Mason, with regular meetups for brunch, walks, picnic, and more, with people who could have been strangers to me. Even when I attend events now, it is not uncommon to find peers of students together who have met through my service. With this, I have experience of running interviews, management, reports, initiatives, and event plannings all at once, all while helping to build university life on campus my own. Outside of this, I have been a part of the Forza State for 2 years now, as you may know, of which I am the news editor now. That means I run a news section for them. But to add on to my responsibilities per the job description, I decided to create a system of guides for the team and recruited dozens of new members to help improve the system. What resulted was a tighter-knit team to work with due to my actions. I also have a history in my prior newspaper before Mason of increasing their views threefold due to my understanding of how to get students involved through forum styles and numerous government officials' interviews that I've held in the past. I understand what it takes to get students interested in something, especially at Mason. School spirit is another aspect which encases University Life Committee, but I see a broader definition in that word. Through Senate, for my last speeches and resolutions, as you may have seen, I focus on building not only foundations for us to work together, but smoothly, also a good attitude. University Life Committee goes hand in hand with this good attitude by adding to our team positivity, reinforcement, provision of opportunities, and elimination of gossip amongst ourselves. This means that no matter who is on our team, I'm excited to work with them, and I will continue to inspire the members of this committee to model the same actions. Being in university life, I believe I will do a better job towards needs tailored to my skills, which is again, building foundations and bonds between students, knowing that Mason is currently a free campus to begin with, especially in these endeavors. Especially after George Mason Athletics visited us today, I really like those pitches, and I think that we would be the one to cover that, especially with expanding Gold Rush and Nora's previous decisions. Within a year in student government, newspaper, and friend service, I've watched myself take every opportunity I saw fit to myself, and I'm very happy with the people I was able to help along the way. to continue doing that today. Studying at Mason to pursue law school while balancing 3 jobs is more than I could ask for, yet being ahead in college, I've structured my degree to leave my current schedule wide open, even with these responsibilities. This means that I will be available to uphold the position of University Life Committee, and I believe my past experiences are fitted to the chair. I have trust in the people in this room, and I believe the chamber knows best for who's fit for this position. I ask for them to pick the best candidate in this room and listen to everyone and what they have to say. I yield my time to questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This will now move on to Senator Kovacev. Do you have a candidate statement?
Yes, I do. All right, I'm pleased to announce that I will be running for chair of University Life. As somebody who really values, school spirit, sports, mental health, well-being, and the safety of our students, all of these, I would like to jump into the ring and really fight hard for the students at Mason, because it is very important that we have, it's really important that we have great school spirit, which we are severely lacking in at Mason. Currently, Mason is among the most unhappy universities in not only Virginia, not only the United States, but North America. It's clear that we're in desperate need of school spirit. We need a support system that benefits everyone, which is why I will be working very hard with University Life Chair Rose Pasquale, among many others. I'll be working hard with student involvement. I'll work with timely care, CAPS, whoever I need to make sure that everybody is secure, to make sure that everybody is happy at Mason, to make sure that people will come out of Mason saying, you know what, I've had a wonderful experience. Like my colleague, Senator Minnesota, I have been on the 4th Estate for about a year and a half, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience working with them. I was an opinion editor. You may have seen my work in the 4th Estate, particularly the ones about Kanye West. And I've also worked very tirelessly on initiatives such as cleaning the prairie space at Mason in the Johnson Center, getting that cleaned up. I'm also planning a lot in terms of a little pet project I'd like to call the Neurodivergent Town Hall, which will be some sort of Q&A to gauge what the students want from Office of Disability Services and what Office of Disability Services can do for the disabled community in Mason. I will also work with various budding RSOs, as there are very many coming up every week or so. And it's very important that student government is involved and is in touch with these new and budding RSOs, because it's so important to foster that relationship when they're brand new. We want to build relationships as soon as we get the chance. So it is my honor to accept it. It is my honor to be running for this role because I am diplomatic, I am easy to work with, I can name a list of all my good qualities, but I will just say this: I care about students at Mason. I care about the reputation of Mason. I care if even one person comes out of Mason and says, you know what, I had a great time at Mason, then my job would have been very well done. I'm honored to accept this nomination, and I wish everybody running the best of luck.
Thank you very much. This will now bring us to Secretary Williams. Do you have a candidate statement?
I do. All right, I'm going to keep this short, but I hope
hopefully effective because I like public speaking as much as the next person. But I really don't want to stand up here and list my qualifications, but I want to tell you guys why I want this position. In my position at PAC, I've been lucky to work with university life, especially in Gold Rush. We've had multiple meetings, and I worked with both Norm and multiple secretary and secretaries in the University Life Committee, and I got to really feel what that committee does. And what I learned from that is that PAC, Patriot Activities Council, which hopefully everyone knows that in here, and the University Life have very similar objectives and very similar goals. We make events, we host events for students on this campus to get out, to get involved, to feel connected, and to feel welcome. That makes sense. And I've done that through Gold Rush, working with student government. I got to see everyone here come out to that event, work that event, and see the students be engaged, even though it was inside, even though we didn't do a lot. We got to see one of the biggest attendants at a basketball game work with Zach really closely when we were working on Gold Rush, and he said perfectly that we want to up student involvement. We want to up school spirit. Student involvement office is here to get students engaged in RSOs and DSOs, to ensure that they feel welcomed here at Mason and they want to be able to fit in. That's what we all want, right? We're here to make friends. We're here to have an experience. What I want to help everyone do. If granted the opportunity to be sitting on this chair position, I would be really looking forward to work with my executive counterparts. I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm going to say Undersecretary of Student Involvement, Pierce Landon. I don't want to jinx anything later today. And everyone else in that committee and the committee here sitting, anyone involved here as well. Because we're all having a common goal in this committee. And we all want to work towards the involvement of students, the well-being of students. And after you mentioned timely care, timely MD, which we saw a presentation last semester. I've seen it in every organization I've been part of. I've seen them come to present. FSL, they've presented. PAC, we've talked about it. It's making its way through this campus and helping every student that downloads it on their phone. I haven't used it, but it's something that students need to be able to have those resources and know that they're heard, know that they're welcome here at Mason, knowing they have those resources. Mason doesn't have the best reputation in that, and I think we can all recognize that, but that's why we're sitting in this room, and we want to better that. I totally lost my spot. But student involvement is at one of its most crucial points coming out of COVID, right? I got on the board at PAC last semester, and our bosses said, to the school, COVID's not a thing, we don't have to worry about it. Made my job a lot easier, but it's making our job a lot harder, right? We have to kick back up all the initiatives, all the events, everything we were doing before COVID happened. Now, congratulations on a really successful Mason Lobbies. First one back after COVID. And we're all here, we'll sit in this room together and have these events because COVID isn't a thing, at least at this university. But we're in such a crucial part to get students engaged. Many of the students right here haven't had an orientation, haven't had a lot of experiences on campus because of COVID. And I think this committee at this time all fit in the right puzzle pieces to give the students the opportunity they need on campus. I said I think keep it short, but I like rambling, so I do apologize. But I'll wrap it up here. But given the opportunity to be on this chair, I would utilize the resources and connections I've already made through university life departments, through student involvement, and here everyone sitting in this room to make sure that this chair is utilized in the right way, to make sure this committee is operating under someone who believes in them and someone who has a common goal as them. I do events with my job, but I would love to do them for student government as well and make sure that students want to be involved and are involved. I know what it takes to do that. I know what events and programs look like to get students involved, and I would love to have the opportunity to do that for all of you. Thank you.
Alrighty, This will now move on to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate, Chairman Collet?
Yeah, so it's April 22, we're wrapping up the session, and you have made one massive accomplishment that you've worked on the entire semester. What's that accomplishment?
I'll have Secretary Williams do you for the question.
Yeah. I mean, April is right around the corner. And I think there's a lot of things we can do for me. I didn't sit on the U.S. committee last semester, but I worked with them very closely. I would love to be able to help everyone in the committee with all their initiatives to get to that point, but I'm going to stop rambling, and I'm actually going to answer the question. Student involvement plays a vital role in Mason Day, and I've had plenty of ideas thrown at me from the PAC side of things that unfortunately we can't do. And there's a great opportunity for Mason Day for us to help student RSOs have that access in the biggest event Mason has. We have student performers by giving students another voice, another opportunity to be involved in Mason Day, to have 7,000 students come and either see their RSO or see what their goal is, or even see what our goal is. I think having something at that event and giving the students the opportunity of being like, oh, my RSO can be at that level, giving them that opportunity would be something I would greatly want to look back on.
Do you? Yeah. We'll move on to Senator Kovacek. Do you for the question?
Yes, I do. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure not only various RSOs know that we are on their side, but I'm also going to make it so that these RSOs know for a fact that we will fight them. Because so many RSOs I've seen, so many people I've seen do not have very much faith in student government. And it's quite frankly extremely sad. If I can convince at least one person, like I said, if I can convince at least one person that the Mason experience is a positive one, that'll be a victory for me. And if at least one RSO comes out of working with student government and says, this was a positive experience, then that will be a victory on my part. In addition to that, I'm going to make sure people know what student government stands for, what student government does, because I do realize that people don't really know what we do. So through collaborating intensively with people like outreach liaison, the outreach liaison, and John Dressel, of course. No, that's not it. John Dressel are fantastic, and any other people, anyone that I can possibly work with, I will work with. And I'll make sure that they come out of that interaction in a good mood, in good humor.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Senator Moonstar. Do you for the question?
Yes, I will. Thank you. I believe the question you asked was what is your biggest accomplishment and then how that went to university life. I go back to Friends Club. I think it's a very versatile place and it's something that everyone can do.
Point of order. The question was, what will your biggest accomplishment be? What will you want to do?
Okay, moving on. But yes, expanding from the Friends Club, I plan to expand on what Nora already put in place because we're in the middle of the year and we're in April. She had things like Gold Rush expansion and the fashion coupons. Excuse me, I don't know the official term for that policy, but I wanted to speak to her and start to expand on it, but also use the versatility in university life itself to start implementing events that are already run, but on a more official Mason sponsored basis. Maybe we could have brunch, with students on campus and especially in Dorset. Things like that is what I'm aiming for. So versatility would define my biggest accomplishment that I mean. I will.
Do these answer your question?
Yes, they do.
Thank you very much. Any other questions for the candidates? Pro Tempore Jim Nachman.
Sure. I wanted to ask each candidate how they deal with pushback from either their team or from administration.
We're going to start off with Senator Kosef. Do you for the question?
Yes, I do. I welcome constructive criticism. In fact, I thrive on it. When someone tells me, hey, maybe this measure wasn't a good idea, my response will be, you're right, I will consider what I can do to ameliorate such an issue. For example, I'll give an example of my first proposal for a node over at Town Hall, which I will say was quite rushed. When people told me that I've not yet spoken with ODS, that this will take much more time than just a simple resolution, and that's that, I accepted and moved to table the bill, and we eventually moved to table the bill for a later time. This is something that I'm still working on. I take criticism very well, as you may see, as is seen in said motion. I also believe that taking criticism and considering it is integral to the institutions that we base our civic government on. Without criticism, we wouldn't improve. Simple as that. And in order to work with RSOs that have been negatively affected by measures put in place by student government in the past, we need to consider their criticisms and take them to heart and change.
Thank you very much. Really quickly, I'm going to raise a point of personal privilege and motion to limit each response to 1 minute. Is this properly seconded?
Seconded.
Any objections? Beautiful. Timer. Or who put on that?
A timer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. We are going to go to Senator Moonstar. Do you for the question?
Yes, I will. Okay, so you asked about how we anticipate pushback. I think that should be absolutely anticipated when you're making any decisions. And personally, when I worked with my previous management experience, I worked on a group basis, meaning everyone has a say in what they want. It's never going to be just about me, especially in something like university life. With that being said, I wouldn't expect severe pushback for something like university life.
The question was, how would you deal with pushback, not do you expect pushback? I apologize, that was unclear.
That's okay. Yes, dealing with pushback, I've done that in the past with my management positions, but I do expect to yield to their pushback because I believe it would be reasonable, being that they are from administration. However, I would like to speak with LEAD and the previous people in the past, especially NORD, to see how they would handle it, so I can just model what they usually do. I yield.
Thank you very much. Stellar time. Then Secretary Williams, do you for the question?
I do. For being honest, I mean, we all go to a state university, it's a state organization. There's going to be a lot of pushback. I've seen it a lot in my job at PAC. But you just have to hear, what I do is I hear the administration now. What's the kind of plan? I mean, especially pushback from the team. The committee is, I'm not the sole voice of the committee. We all manage these positions, we all are at the same level. And then I welcome it. I know I don't know everything. And I certainly don't know everything compared to our lovely advisors and administration sitting in the room today. They know a lot more than I do, and I love learning from them. I've loved learning from student involvement on my job currently. And I think utilizing all those skills and making sure that I don't step on anyone's toes, but I make sure that the committee can get things done will really be effective in the position. I yield.
Thank you very much. All right. Beautiful. Are there any other questions for the candidate and a quick comment?
Yeah, can the candidates please speak to some experience they've had with events in the past and, coalescing multiple differing groups into one event?
Senator Moonstar, do you have a question?
I will. Yeah, again, not to repeat myself, myself too much, but there's some examples of what we've recently done with the Friends Club. We had people go see a cat cafe the other day. We've had 7 people come together to watch a sunset once. We've gotten different groups involved. I'm partnered with different groups on campus, and we do joint events. This weekend, Saturday, we're having brunch on campus, and we can so that's just some examples of versatile options. I yield.
Amazing. Secretary Williams, do you?
I do. I'm going to apologize right now. I swear I'm going to stop trying to bring up Gold Rush. But to go to Ethan's question, working with student government and PAC, I was fortunate I'm in both organizations and had access to all of our leadership and all of the advisors to run this event. But it was the first event I ran at PAC, and probably one of the best events I was able to run. But I learned a lot managing 2 organizations and making sure that everyone was in the know, knew what they had to do, and day of the event, Nora and I, and everyone else involved were able to run that really efficiently and smoothly. So I look back and fall back on that and what I've learned from that experience, because I was fortunate to be in both organizations, but I know not everyone does that. So being able to learn what I've learned from being on both sides will help me in the future to run better events.
Thank you very much. Senator Kovacek, do you answer the question?
Yes, I open the question. So, let's say I have quite a bit of experience in event management and in mediation of events, because I'm currently sitting on the board of a small organization called Bridge Mason. What we do is, I can pitch you the whole spiel, but that would take too long. Anyways, we foster political discussion among various sides of the political spectrum. It's a fantastic way of encouraging civil discussion, and I have experience with that. I also have experience with working with others in the student newspaper, getting things together. I also have group experience with student government, of course, and that's pretty much all I have. It's quaint, but it's efficient.
Thank you very much.
So sorry.
Okay, awesome. Are there any other questions for the candidates? Senator Curtis.
So, could the candidates list sort of 3 values that they think are most important for this position? So if you think of like your initiatives, you're going to want them to have these 3 values, or at least one of them should focus on one of these 3 values, but something along those lines. So it doesn't have to be too long, right? Just say the 3 values and move on to that. But answer the question.
Secretary Williams, do you?
I do. Involvement, well-being, school spirit. I do.
Senator Kovacek, do you?
Yes, I do. And those 3 values will be cooperation, integrity, and well-being. I do.
Senator Moonsar, do you?
Yes, I do. I'll model the others. As modeled by my speech, again, my 3 top words are versatility, groupthink, and positivity. I yield.
Beautiful. Does this answer your question?
It does.
Are there any other questions for the candidates?
Point first privilege. Can you repeat the second word? I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear.
Like groupthink, as in everyone is, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry, I had to break it down. Senator Watt.
You guys are involved in a lot of activities, which is very impressive. I've seen you guys in but I was wondering, Senator Moonsar touched upon it briefly, but how would you guys manage your time with all these extracurriculars?
Senator Kovacek, do you have the question?
Yes, I do. I realize that with all of this extracurricular activity, it might be a lot on my plate. But I can assure you, I'll get things done. I'll make openings in my schedule for whatever I need. And if I'm definitely going to be able to fit this intense role into my tight schedule.
Thank you very much. Senator Moonsar, do you?
I do. Yeah, so I'm actually a semester ahead in college. I'm a junior standing right now, and because of that, I decided to take roughly 4 classes worth of credits every semester. I usually take 2 or 3 over the summer, meaning my schedule is more open, and I also, even with my current commitments, they don't seem like to be a time commitment or a huge one, so I do believe I have the time for this.
Secretary Williams, you yield to the question?
I do. I love the question. Thank you. I was kind of waiting for it to come up, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I have 2 other leadership positions in my 2 other organizations. But to counter that, past couple semesters I've taken more of a load than I should have. But it's about making time, in my opinion. And that's what I've been able to do in all my organizations and half my classes online for my schedule. Reality is great. But I think it just comes with leadership and knowing what your priorities are, and making sure you don't lose people's advantage. I've worked with Ethan over the past semester to keep those of us on track, and I would seem like it's been too much, and in my organization, you just have to stay on top of what you're doing and know what your objectives are. You can't be out there wandering around doing what you want to do. You just got to know what you're doing and how to do it.
Thank you very much. Are there any Senator there?
For the candidates, if they're kind of going off the time question, if there was a week where you were really overwhelmed and swamped, how would you prioritize and how would you go about that time? Because you guys all have a lot of responsibilities.
Senator Secretary Williams,
I do. We have a committee and a vice chair. Unlike exec, I don't know how y'all do it. You're out there by yourself, but you guys kill it every day. But we're fortunate to be in this position where we have a vice chair and we have a committee that we can lean on. And my truth, being committee chair in other organizations, right? They don't want to see you do all the work, and you shouldn't be doing all the work. But being honest with yourself and being honest with them, because if you're telling them you're fine, and you're really not, they're going to read through it and know that you don't trust them. So I think having trust in your committee, having trust in your vice chair, to maybe take on a little bit more during that week where you can step away for a second, but leaving them with the right responsibilities and the right resources they need to build those shoes and step up in that position is how I would do it, and I think it comes down to trust. You look at trust people you. I yield. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Senator Moonsar, do you yield to the question?
Yes, I yield. I speak with exec often, and they usually say that committees work on an agenda basis and things that they're trying to complete over the year. So that means that you can vary the pace if needed. But apart from that, I don't aim to do that in the first place. But I plan to break work with the undersecretary that I mentioned in the beginning of the speech and my special duties. So I yield.
Senator Kovacev, do you yield to the question?
Yes, I yield. Let's see. I'll be completely honest. This past week has been somewhat stressful, but I have managed quite well under stress so far. Especially with the neurodivergent town hall and all of these initiatives that I have planned, other initiatives that I have planned that I'm sure our friend Tona, who joins us from time to time, he's not here right now, but he can definitely vouch for how well I work under pressure. I work hard, I work well, and I work especially with others. Like Vice Chair Vito, yes. You will be a great help to me if under the conditions that I am elected. I will absolutely get things done. I will absolutely get them done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does this answer your question? Go with Senator Jacobs first.
I'll yield my time to Secretary King of the gallery.
Yes. Can the candidates speak to the offices that they are required to work with in the code, according to the code?
Senator Kovacev, do you yield for the question?
Yes, I yield. And just point of And I do think that there's definitely lots of ways that I can get around this question, but I will answer it like this. I'm going to be working with student involvement, of course. I'm going to be working with CAPS, time with care, ensuring the well-being of students, ensuring that they're happy, ensuring that they're safe and they're having a good time at Mason. So I'm going to absolutely work my hardest with anybody who is involved in university life to ensure that. I yield.
Thank you very much. Senator Moonsar, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I'm not familiar with the code, especially with university life and the committees we work with, but I will read the code if I get the position, as you would with any job description. Thank you, I yield.
Secretary Williams, do you have a question?
I yield. Liam, that's a really good question. I'm going to be completely honest with you. No, I don't know. I'm going to guess one with student involvement. An office I love being in. You see me all the time when I live there. But no, I don't know all the offices. But I do know the objectives. I do know the goals of this committee. And working with those offices after if and when. But learning what they are and who runs them and growing those connections will be my top priority in helping this community succeed and grow our resources. But really good question. I want to say that to you.
It is beautiful. Any other questions? Senator Curtis.
Specifically for Secretary Williams, what are the other two leadership positions, just to understand the relative amount of workload it might be?
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, Paul.
Technically, the questions are supposed to be shared to everyone.
Got it. I rescind my question.
Beautiful, makes my life easier. Any other questions? I will yield my time to Secretary Hamid.
Thank you. You all have been in student government for quite some time. What is the most impactful piece of advice that you've received from a colleague, and how do you plan to implement it in this role that you've chosen?
Senator Moonsar, do you for the question?
Yes, I've been modeling kindness in general, making sure we can work together. Honestly, it does come from Zai because he was the one who convinced me to join in, and he does model that pretty well himself, so I'll just continue to do that.
Secretary Williams, do you?
Yeah. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but one thing that I've tried to model in other organizations, especially we're all part of something. We're all representing 40,000 students. We're all trying to do things that are going to grow this campus and help this campus thrive. So acknowledging that, acknowledging it's not about you, that you're working for other people and you're working for the goals of these students. What I try to focus on when I work at all my positions, because at the end of the day, you should be working for yourself.
Thank you very much. Senator Kovacek, do you for the question?
Yes, I do. I'd say the most important quality or piece of advice I've ever gotten has been, you can't get everybody to like you, but you can, but you don't have to make it a huge deal. You can just say that, oh, this person doesn't like me. I've had plenty of people who do not like me. But the thing is, that's a fact of life. And in general, it's very important to accept that. And as a student government, that is very true, since not every organization is going to like us, but that's okay. We can still work with them. We can still do things with them. And yeah, I yield.
Thank you very much. Is this satisfactory?
I am satisfied.
Thank you very much. Secretary Fudak, did you still seek recognition?
I do. I think Alicia's going to need some input. As chair, you'll have to work with both well-being and safety of the university through Title IX. just to improve access to that for students. What's your commitment to improving that, and how do you plan to improve that?
Secretary Williams, do you answer the question?
I do. Another really good question, and to be honest, not the plan I have written out entirely or in my head, but I know that the two, both undersecretaries and officers we work very closely with, close friends with Secretary Sullivan, and I've heard about every detail she has brought up to student government and what she's working on. So I'd be really dedicated to making sure that students have those resources and knowing where those what those officers what are available. Sorry, I can't talk today. But what's available and how you can go about things when you need those resources, because I know it's a hard step for a lot of students to reach out to those officers, but making the visibility there and making sure students have access to it, because it is extremely hard to just ask for help. But the best we can do is make sure students know what they do and where they
Senator Kovacek, do you use the question?
Yes, I do. As somebody who has mental health issues, I have not found CAPS to be particularly the best option. I've had a hard time finding good mental health care. And a lot of my friends have also had a lot of hard times with mental health. And I think that is a priority, a major priority. Because, like I said before, George Mason University is not a happy university. There is a mental health crisis in this country, and that's especially true for Mason. I will work to ensure that these mental health issues are addressed properly, especially with Title IX and discrimination. It's a huge issue. So I'm definitely going to work very hard to ensure that those are top priorities. I yield.
Senator Moonsack.
Yes, I will. So Cassandra Baker is our Secretary of Wellbeing and Safety, and I plan to talk to her about our agenda. After that, I have my own ideas of just improving on timely care, getting that out there, and again, improving foundation and connections however I can. I know Molly runs Title IX, that's separate, but I also think they go hand in hand. I wanted to talk to her and see how efficient that's doing and see if we can get the resources out better.
Thank you very much. Does this satisfy?
Yes.
Beautiful. I will yield my time to Undersecretary Landon.
So, what role do you see diversity playing in university life? And if you were to become the chair, what steps would you take to cultivate and better protect diversity in the school?
Senator Kosa, do you have the question?
Yes, I do. Of course, diversity is quite important to this community and to university values. It's our, you can see all these signs around campus saying George Mason University is the most diverse school in the state of Virginia. So naturally, it's important that we ensure that diversity is enforced in all aspects of the university, especially university life, because there are so many RSOs from diverse backgrounds, not just Africa. Any way you put it, they're very diverse. And I think it's important to really embrace that, embrace diversity, and embrace the different viewpoints that everybody has. This is a school of 40,000 people. So, yeah,
Thank you very much. Secretary Williams, do you have the question?
I do. So really, it's a great question, and I think we all know in this room that, like Senator Kosa said, George Mason said we're the most diverse university in Virginia. But there are steps that need to be taken to not just be able to say it, but to continue making sure that students feel welcomed here. And the steps I would take are working with our DEI offices. One of my advisors for another one of my organizations is the DEI advisor nationwide for my organization. And I've learned a lot under his guidance of how I can make organizations and FSL on campus, more welcoming and implementing DEI strategy, not strategy, that's totally different word, but into our organizations and making sure that all students and makes them feel welcomed and know that they have those opportunities that everybody else has. So working with officers would be my biggest step forward because I know I don't know everything on the topic.
I did start the clock.
I yield, sorry.
Does this answer your question?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Senator Moonsar.
I yield. Yes, to review what Cobus said earlier, we are the most diverse campus. We have about 40,000 students. A little bit about me, my parents are immigrated from Guyana, and I'm Guyanese, and I actually turned down some other schools like GMU to come here. Apart from DC, I just liked how diverse it was, and I wanted to see what that was like. We have Title IX under team with the Undersecretary Molly, and they can help. We can also have Sol from Donna help us out with advice. We can always work together as committees. University life tailors to all demographics because I think Mason actually does have a main identity of being diverse. I think that's the thing of the school. So of course that's going to be embraced in all ways. I yield.
Thank you very much. Does this answer your question?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Are there any other questions from candidates? Amazing. So one last one. The other people took my questions because I was really getting brilliant because of certain reasons. But last one, it can be simply yes or no. My questions to the candidates are you willing to sideline your initiatives if it means the success of the committee? So we'll start with Senator Kovasov.
My main goal for this position is the success of the university and the students within it. So if that means sacrificing my pride and having to sideline some of my resolutions, then
Thank you very much. Senator Moonsar, do you yield for the question?
I yield. Yes, I would sideline any of my goals for the greater good. I yield.
Secretary Williams, do you yield for the question?
Yes, I do. Yes, I yield.
Thank you very much. Any other questions for the candidates? All right, seeing none, I will ask the candidates to please leave the room so the Senate can discuss. See you, Paul.
No, I don't know what Rock went. He gave me what I thought.
If he's not back, go ahead.
This will now bring us into discussion and debate. And real quick, I'm going to motion that we curb discussion and debate to 5:51 p.m. Is that seconded? Seconded. Any opposed? Awesome. So, is there any discussion? Well, I hope there is, but is there any discussion debates on the candidates at hand? Senator Curtis.
Can I ask a question to Vice Chair Vito, as they will be Vice Chair, so I think their opinion might be important here as to if they have any preference or their general opinions on the candidates.
Vice Chair Vito, do you yield?
I yield to the question. I think it's an important question, but also it's more about working as a team, so it's not necessarily a personal preference, but how well they would fit with the committee as a whole. And yeah, were you asking me to pick between them? Or?
No, just like as a team, like how do you think one meshes with the team, or how do you think it will change the team dynamics? Just that kind of information.
Yeah, I think it's more about how they work with the team, not with me personally.
This answers your question.
Yeah, I guess.
Senator Arcidi Tono.
Thank you. I do think that if I remember correctly, I think the chair and the vice chairs are connected. So the chair will do a vice chair election. Because when the chair resigns, the vice chair will be. I think that's. I might be wrong. But what I was going to say was the big thing with this position is it's very much an administrative role. Commonly, I see candidates in any of these positions talk about initiatives, and that's very important because this position will be, it's a force multiplier. It helps people make those connections and advance their initiatives. I think the biggest thing with this for us to consider is how will that member will preside, how will help the committee, and with those values and those goals, I do think that we do keep in mind that this person will be the person recognizing people in the committee. They'll be the liaison between members of the community, students and staff that have issues or concerns related to university life. And that's the first person that they're going to be going to liaise with. I think the values that we should adhere to and the ones that I'm looking for are communication, because that's the biggest part of this position, and collaboration when it comes to working with committees, committee members, and helping them with their initiatives. So I ask you to keep that all in mind. I yield.
Thank you very much. Chair Dressel.
Yeah, so I was pretty conflicted until we got some more questioning, so I thank everyone for their great questions. But I think that we, with Erica and Alex, we have some great experience on both sides with them. Leading an organization that has 1,000 students in their organization, and they come together and they meet regularly. That's amazing for student involvement, and student involvement is what we're looking for. It's a big part of this role, but I think that Alex shows even more experience in that role, and just his experience of getting students together, bringing them together for events, his work with PAC, it's incredibly impressive. So I think my support just has to go to Alex here, and I urge others to as well, because in terms of U-Life, it seems like he's him. So yeah, I yield.
Thank you very much. Great pro tempore to Athens.
All right. So we're about an hour 15 in for us, but on to the matter at hand. I wanted to stress that each candidate really truly does care about the position, which I think is the most important prerequisite. And I know for a fact that each and every candidate will put their heart, whole, 110% into the position. What I wanted us to think about is what the candidate, or what we as a Senate will gain with each particular candidate. All right? We put Senator Kovacek in, we gain more access with ODI, we get more initiatives with ODI, we work on that front. We put Senator Munisar in, we work more with GMU Friends Club, we work more with cooperation on inside student government, as far as I can tell from the and with Secretary Williams, we get better cooperation with PAC, and we have experience with managing multiple organizations. I think that all three of these are worthy goals. As far as my own personal opinion, it does fall between Senator Munisar and Secretary Williams. Senator Munisar, because if we have them in the role, we simply get more people attending student government events by virtue of the GMU Friends Club. An organization of over 1,000 people is over 1,000 more bodies that come to these events. Whereas if we instead have Secretary Williams in the role, I believe that we'll have a better foundation of a relationship with PAC, which will be, in my opinion, more important for future events. Just want to throw that out there. I think they're all pretty qualified candidates, and I look forward to see what the chamber is going to vote for.
Thank you very much. Quick comment.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short since we only have until 5:51. It's no surprise that Secretary Williams has been my right-hand man through this whole semester. He's kept my head on straight. That guy could move mountains with the willpower and the force that he has. I'd like to say that I'm very excited to work with any of those three candidates, but speaking from experience through helping manage Gold Rush and the events that he's working on with PAC, his title in PAC is Campus Events Lead, and events, although they're not the entirety of the University Life Chair position, are a huge role in that. And there is nobody I know that is more experienced in that role. I yield.
Thank you very much. Chairman Collet.
We need someone who's plug and play at this position. They've got 11 weeks, which is not a lot of time at all to do something. And Alex, out of the 7 offices, he's on e-boards or whatever he's on there, which is very easy. He's in the role. He's basically in the role already. I'm going to go with him. Yield.
Thank you very much. Senator Inga.
So I think it's important that we consider that the semester has already started and we need someone with experience in this position. And Senator Williams, as we have heard, he has experience doing these events, like homecoming is coming in 2 weeks. And other, like, pretty sure like other sports events are coming, and then we have our visitor, like, we want to do this fast, we don't have too much time, and we need someone with this experience to address all these events. So I feel like Senator Williams will be the best option we have right now.
Thank you very much. Senator Srivastava.
Point of inquiry, if Secretary Williams was to become the chair, would they still keep the secretary role? I support Secretary Williams, by the way. I encourage you guys to as well. I yield.
Thank you very much. Senator Applebaum.
Kind of piecing together what a lot of my colleagues said, I think one of the things that Arush said, although I agree, I have to slightly disagree. I love you, doesn't matter. The thing is, by gaining this person in this role, I don't think that they're necessarily just going to attract their surrounding things. I think what they're really going to bring is experience. I know as someone who's a part of student government, my friends all know that I'm a part of student government already. If I were to become chair of ULA, that's not really going to change my interaction with them and their interaction with student government, but the experience from the previous things that these different candidates have done speak for themselves, and within that role, I think one candidate will drive. You can figure that out one for yourself. But hey, there you go.
Thank you very much. Senator Babar.
This is answering Senator Ferris's previous question, but I know Alex is part of, Secretary Williams is part of. He's president for the fraternity and he's part of PAC. That's pretty much what he's part of. But what I'm going to say about time commitment every day, if you put Secretary Williams, who's already part of PAC, and just student involvement, part of ULA, it's just really sort of similar fields, so it won't really a lot more work versus other things. When a person has a bunch of million things going on, different things, that's when it's sort of getting overworked, but when it's all related to something that is really student involvement related, it puts less strain on them. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Senator Curtis is probably the last one.
No, I actually.
Senator Shekslami. You're good. Senator Watt.
Slightly disagree with you on that. Senator Applebaum. Yep. I think if Senator Muzar was to get the role, she could advertise and make the person that events to her. I think that's great. Yeah. Because she can be like, oh, like I'm Eli chair, and Eli should look into this. Not saying that she could already like advertise them to them all, but like I feel like after being Eli chair, and I give them like convince, But yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. The time is now 5:55. 5:51. So that will take us out of discussion and debate and into voting. So again, it's going to be a little funky because we have three, but Clerk Connell will explain it more afterward. So someone only has to get a simple majority. However, if nobody hits that simple majority, you have to vote again. If someone again does not hit simple majority, then someone can motion to take someone off the ballot. You don't have to, but you can choose to. But basically, we have to continue voting until simple majority is obtained. And also, if you choose to abstain, unlike a 2/3 vote, where that counts in terms of a no, an abstention counts as a vote not casted. So let's say there's 37 people in here, and I abstain, which you can probably guess, but that means only 36 votes were cast. So take that into consideration, and I'll pass it on to Clerk Connell.
Yeah, so like Speaker Weiss said, it's going to look a little bit differently. When I call your name, I'm going to have you say the name of the candidate you are voting for. I'm going to record that on here with either a yay, a nay, or an abstention. In the order of fairness, I'm just going to do that in the order that the candidates were nominated. And a yay vote or an aye vote will be recorded for Senator Musar. A nay vote will be recorded for Secretary Williams. And an abstention vote will be recorded for Senator Kosa. Okay. If you actually would like to abstain, please say that out loud, and then I will just record that as a no vote in the thing. So like I said, when I call your name, please state the candidate which you want to vote. Starting with Alam, who submitted a vote by proxy as he left to pray, who voted for Secretary Williams, which we recorded. as a negative. Applebaum.
Secretary Williams.
Residia Kona.
Senator Rizzo.
Babar.
Secretary Williams.
Chadbell.
Secretary Williams.
Connell. Secretary Williams. Curtis.
Senator Munisar.
Dresser.
Secretary Williams.
Jurgers.
Secretary Williams.
Emery.
Senator Munisar.
Ferris.
Actually abstaining.
Hopkins.
Senator Munisar.
Inga.
Secretary Williams.
Jacobs.
Secretary Williams.
Gemini.
Williams.
Present. Kovas. Locke.
Secretary Williams.
Lorenzo.
Munisar.
Major.
Senator Munisar. Plan for this little privilege tonight, except the champ.
McCauley. Colombo.
Secretary Williams.
Parks.
Senator Munisar.
Racine.
Senator Munisar.
Rawat.
I'd like to abstain.
Sedlak.
Secretary Williams.
Shea Islam. Srivastava.
Secretary Williams.
Sol. Tatum.
Williams.
Vito.
Secretary Williams.
Speaker Wax.
Abstaining.
Zaman.
Secretary Williams.
Zundir.
Secretary Williams.
That is 8 votes for Senator Munisar, 20 votes for Secretary Williams, and 1 vote for Senator Kotsa.
Just verify. Okay, awesome. That is a simple majority. So it would appear that Secretary Williams is now Chair Williams. So we can invite the people back in.
Liam, if you could bring them back in, please. Thank you so much.
I wasn't going to miss that. We can wait until everybody gets in. They get to their chair. All right, so the Senate has voted, and I would like to congratulate now Chair Williams. Thank you to all who ran. So Senator Munisar and Senator Koseb, even though you did not get the position, please do continue to take any opportunity available to you to grow in this organization and pursue your initiatives. So finally, 5:56, this will take us out of election of committee chairs and into officer reports. Beginning with mine, the speaker report. So this says good afternoon, but honestly, good night. Happy Groundhog Day to everyone. The groundhog predicted a longer winter, and I'm personally not here for it. But luckily, it appears that we'll be having some warmer temperatures beginning next week, so I'm real happy about that. I hope you all had a wonderful time off, and to those who were at Mason Lobbies last week, thank you for attending. I'd like to take this time to just briefly give a round of applause to the entire GCR team, Celine, and SG advisors who worked their butts off to make Mason Lobbies the most successful it could be. So, we actually have on here too, it says clapping ensues. Now, on to some updates. So, as you can see, there are no longer 40 individuals among us. Unfortunately, we had a few members resign due to different personal circumstances. However, that does mean that we'll be having appointments coming up to bring some new people to the Senate in this last leg of the 43rd student government. Chair Dressel oversees this process, and I'm sure will be giving us updates on all of that, either in his chair report today or at our next meeting. So be on the lookout for that. And then, as you can tell, we just had a chair election, so that's super exciting. Regardless of who's appointed, all of the committees will be beginning this coming week. So Secretary Williams, or Chair Williams, you're gonna need to get on that to determine when your committee will be, because committees will start this coming week. And again, everybody except, well, even including the chairs who then have to commit to another committee, everybody has to recommit to the committee because it's a new semester, new school schedules, so you aren't expected to necessarily stay in the same committee. Of course, if you love to, then that's amazing. But you are going to have to redeclare, so those are going to be due at the end of next week by the end of the following Senate meeting. So that's going to be on the 9th. And you tell me, I'll let you do it up until I leave next Senate meeting. So, but please do not wait that long for my sake. Just email will suffice just as fine, but you need to also make sure you tell the given chair so they know you're going to be on the committee. And then also, lastly, as I've said before, we will be attempting to bring in more speakers to Senate throughout the semester. And if you read the agenda, you saw we had a speaker from athletics, so we'd like to do that a little more often. I reached out to President Gregory Washington and also the BOV to see if they could get someone in here. And then we're also going to potentially have someone from Quill Camp, if you know what that is. So looking to just bring in more people in general, so Senate can be more informed and just, we can do a little more collaboration sort of thing. But yeah, if you have any suggestions on potential speakers, please let me know, as I asked last semester. And with that being said, that's all I got for right now, so I'll pass it on to Speaker Pro Tem Jim Menathan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rush Menathan. I'm the Super Pro Tempore. You didn't know that. Hi, my name is Rush Menathan. I'm the Super Pro Tempore. That joke will never get old, and I will keep saying it. Anyway, I'm glad that we're all back. I hope you all had a very restful break between semesters. I hope your classes aren't too hard or that they're too bad. But that's the life. Anyway, I know for a fact that there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up. And I know for a fact there are a lot of people who are thinking whether or not they want to run next year, either for a leadership position or just for the Senate. Feel free to come up to anybody and talk to us about that. 50 minutes says what it's really like. Or don't. It's your life. Apart from that, any updates? Not really. I'm really just excited to get back. Nathan obviously was a resounding success. So good job on that. And I hope you all like your free Hufflepuff stars if you attended. Yeah, that's about all I had.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to start off by briefly saying thank you to all three candidates for running. I know it's not easy to do that, to put yourself out there and submit yourself, to be grilled by all of these people who love asking questions and love asking hard questions. So thank you to all of you. On the clerk side, I actually got locked out of the website over winter break, so I couldn't update the legislation law that was posted, but figured that out last night, so look to see that happening soon. Looking to, with whoever our new diversity and well, hopefully, if everything goes well, Secretary Winter will be Secretary of Diversity and Multicultural Affairs, looking to get back on the rails with the Jackson Hole Initiative. Happy to update anyone who would like on that front. A lot of appointments today. Be ready with questions, but not too many questions. I'd like to go to bed at a reasonable time tonight. And that should be it. Happy to be back. Good to see all you guys.
Thank you very much. This will now take us out of officer reports and into committee and liaison reports, starting with the Admin and Finance Committee. Chair Dressel.
Yeah, so I plan to give a quick budget brief next week, just to talk about our funds for the semester. And then, as the speaker previously mentioned, we do have some open seats, which means appointments will be coming up. Typically, it goes through an application or anyone who wants to join the Senate has to fill out an application on Mason 360. Per the code, I'm required to take those applications on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you know anyone that would want to join Senate, tell them to look on our socials and everything, and do that often so that they can be the first ones to apply or whatever. Other than that, admin's going to be Mondays at 12, so please join if you'd like that. We're going to have quite a few code bill meetings this semester, so if that's something that you enjoy, be there and we can deliberate on this. So thank you.
Beautiful. Moving on to the Services Committee, Chair McCoy.
It's nice to see you all. Liam and I set up our monthly meetings with our 7 primary departments. If you have interest in any of those 7 departments, let us know. Loop you in on those meetings. We are now looking to establish meetings with more miscellaneous departments that we have and some things related to them. And I will now be listing opportunities for everyone to take part in if anyone is looking for a job. So first, in our My IT meeting with Charlie Span, we'll be doing ITS surveys for outreach. The idea so far is general Wi-Fi updates. What building do you live in? Rate your Wi-Fi 1.5. Basic stuff like that. Figure out where the problem is because building the case log hasn't been effective yet. Miscellaneous committees. So I'm working on looking for committees around the school, different governing bodies, things like the Building and Land Use Committee, the Space Use Committee. There's a student center advisory board. There's all these different things. I'm looking to try and get us around these places so we know what's going on. We know when things are happening within our bureaucracy. If you're interested in being on one of those committees, you can come to me. I've got a list building. And I can help you get on those. The grove planting. Early March, we're going to start planting in the grove. We're buying around $2,000 worth of plants to put in there. It's going to be real pretty. We're going to work with the school, and it's an opportunity to get students involved in planting things so they can see them grow. There's also going to be a tree planting. If anybody wants to work on the event for that, that's going to be much later in Earth Month, which leads me to Earth Month. April is going to be a big month for the student government. We're going to have a lot of events. It's a 4-week plan. Past, present, future, and how do we get there. It's going to be very interesting. There's going to be a lot of speakers and a lot of opportunities. If anyone's interested in planning events for that, you're more than welcome to come. Ask Liam and I, and here will be a Mason Stewards information meeting on February 10th, the asynchronous model for Mason Stewards, and work the way I'd like. So we're going to do monthly meetings now, where we'll delegate the tasks from there. It'll be on February 10th. With Steve Bulmer from Facilities. We will explain exactly how to do the task that you are assigned, and then you'll have a month from then to do it. So if anybody who is a part of Mason Stewards or is interested in joining it that hasn't yet, February 10th, I believe 1 or 1:30, I'm going to send a mass email out. That will be the information meeting for that. And there'll be a Maintain Mason tomorrow. So if you want to pick up some garbage with me, we're meeting at 12 at the hub, as per usual. And for whoever's been coming, it'll be the same deal. We can go. I'm thinking some of the creeks this time, just because garbage started to pile up there again. And that's what's going on. I do.
Thank you very much, Chair Soul.
Welcome back, everybody. So to start, Dama has changed our time to the class when we usually meet. So now we're going to be at 4:30 on Mondays. I know that we were full last semester, but I've heard from a couple of people who won't be able to make this new time, so if you're interested, let me know. Or just come on Monday. I've been talking with Lauren Batty, and we sent an email today actually to bring CCEE into this semester's retreat. So we're going to have a meeting with them to talk exactly about what it is we want them to come and do with us. I also would like to see them come into committee. I also talked last semester with Dr. Sharmia Artis about coming to committee and chatting about what it is that DEI does and how we can help, a little Q&A thing like we did with a couple of other groups last semester. And then we're also going to continue that, bringing in cultural RSOs to committee. So we are also discussing within the department how best to celebrate and recognize Black History Month. There's a lot of things, whether we want to host our own event, whether we want to just support events hosted by the Black boards. There's a lot of different ideas being thrown around. So if you have any, let me know, and I will take it into consideration alongside, hopefully, Secretary Winter, the new Undersecretary that will be hopefully confirmed today, Vice Chair Locke. We will be moving quickly since February has started, but please feel free to reach out. Anyway.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to recently appointed Chair William.
If this gets us home any sooner, I don't have a report, but I'm excited to get started. I yield.
Thank you very much. Dr. Colombo.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for coming to Mason Lobbies and making the event so successful. I think it went really well. I hope you guys also think that it went really well. We're going to be sending out a survey within a couple days about your experience. So please fill that out in a timely manner. And then GCR is now on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. So I hope everyone can join GCR. And have a great semester. I yield.
Amazing. Moving on to Chair Shizak.
Hello, everybody. Academics is at 3 p.m. on Mondays now. This semester, main goal is to just make academic policy more clear. As you remember, last semester I had an initiative with the Jewish high holidays. That's something that was already implemented into the policy, but it's not made abundantly clear for students to read. So I decided to go through the code during my winter break, and I found some irregularities. So I hopefully will be able to get in with the academic policy committee, and we will move from there. So if you can make it at 3 p.m. on Monday, please come through. With that, I yield.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to the Faculty Senate Liaison and Liaison Law.
The first Faculty Senate meeting was last week. They pretty much just talked about the start date for the fall semester next year, or this year technically. They were discussing pushing it forward and how that would affect blank grade and everything like that. There was a lot of debate going on, so I'm sure they will push it on that next meeting, which is next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to PR Liaison, Chair Dressel.
Yes, so as you all can tell, we are recording today. We're hoping to get not only today's recording up by this weekend probably, but some of the older recordings up too. We still have those on file, just going through them and getting them up on the website and wherever else, and possibly YouTube channel. So yeah. Other than that, many of you already have come to me with different content ideas, whether it be for our socials or the website. I heavily encourage this. That's what I'm here for, is the PR liaison, for you all to come here and come to me, and hopefully I can talk with PR and we can work something out and continue to improve our relationship. So yeah, I yield.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to the Outreach Liaison, Liaison Applebaum.
What's going on, everyone? It's good to see you guys all again. Not a whole lot to talk about. I'm working on a calendar so that you guys know when outreach is going on. That's really hard, but I'm trying to figure it out. Other than that, I'm going to keep sending out stuff in the Slack. I wanted to send one out today, but I didn't reach out in time for us to bring like a whole crowd. But Chess Club was pretty fun. You guys should look at joining it and definitely do an outreach to them. If you guys have any suggestions about if Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar or something like that is easier to share with a big group, please let me know, because right now both of them are super unhelpful. So if anyone's good at that, I would appreciate some help. Keep doing outreach. Form will go out later. Zaya's looking at me, so I'm going to yield to him, I guess.
Outlook is probably best since you can create events on the calendar and then add contacts and required attendance for those events, while also using Microsoft to create contact lists. That way you don't mess up with forgetting to CC someone else, whatever. But yeah, if you want to do an Outlook one-on-one, look out on your calendar.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, sorry. How you? That's cool.
Thank you. Okay, coming out of committee and liaison reports into public session, beginning with our executive report, President Nguyen.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for coming out today. As you can tell, my partner in crime isn't here because she's busy girl bossing at the White House, so you'll see her later today. I don't have too much to report, just a big thank you to everyone in the GCR committee for planning Mason lobbies, and thank you to everyone who came out. I really had a fun time, so I hope you all did too. So just a couple of things. I'm currently working with the Patriot Period Project and NAACP to install period dispensers on campus, so we will be meeting with facilities next week to talk about the budget proposal that we made. So more updates to come about that. Homecoming is coming up. It's February 18th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is like the tailgating event. So I really hope that y'all can make it. I'm trying to plan something to where we invite all of our previous SG alumni to the event so that you all can maybe meet them. And yeah, hopefully we're able to like get some, ice cream, root beer floats for the event as well. But undecided yet, so we'll keep you updated. I met with some members of the Faculty Senate and the Staff Senate, and just a couple things. They've been told that classes may be starting a week earlier in the fall semester, starting August 21st. And it appears that winter graduation is going to be December 23rd for another odd reason. So they wanted me to ask you all for your opinions. So if you have a negative opinion about it, just let me know. If you have a positive opinion, just let me know. But they just wanted to gather some student input because having a graduation December 23rd is a little off for me. Just my opinion. Anyways, other than that, we have some awesome appointments today. So please give them all your attention and ask questions if needed. I'm really excited for you all to meet them. And just another thing, it's Black History Month, so please support Black organizations on campus by attending their events. Very crucial that we continue to support them. We have a segment on our Instagram page called Diversity Org of the Week, and this month we will be solely focusing on the Black organizations and promoting their events. So if you see any that you're free, please attend them and please support them. That's all I have, and I yield.
Thank you very much. This will now bring us to the Student Involvement Advisor, starting off with Advisor Kaplan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, like everyone has been saying all evening, I just want to say a huge thank you to SG Lead and the GCR team for your help with these lobbies. It was really awesome to see all of you connect with different legislators to really get an inside look at how Richmond works for a day. So I appreciate those who were able to attend and participate and experience it. Hope you all got a lot out of it. Looking over my notes, let's see. Also, we have 7 candidates here tonight for exec cabinet. Some may be in person, some may have a statement. So I just want to make sure that we are going through them in a timely manner, whether that's setting a timer for each candidate for questions, whatever you have to do to stay organized, I'll leave that up to you. But that is my suggestion because it is 6:15 and cabinet starts at 7, so I want to be respectful to not only the folks that showed up on the Thursday night to be appointed to cabinet, but also to Sophia and the rest of her team. All right. Last but not least, so Paul alluded a little bit earlier to resolution number 52. Some of you may have heard murmurings or something like that, and you'll continue to hear murmurings, I'm sure. But our entire Office of Student Involvement, so everyone included, the Office of Student Involvement, it will be moving to the Johnson Center in the flex space, hopefully within the next year. And we're super, super excited about it. We think it's going to be an awesome opportunity for all of us to be connected in the student union, right? And be amongst students. And be amongst the awesome food. I'm excited. But yeah, so we're really excited for this journey that we're going to take. Lauren Long, our executive director, who some of you have met through your travels, will be your contact. If you have any questions or anything like that, she is really spearheading the process and implementation of all of it. So it's super, super exciting. And I look forward to some of you being part of the process. Yeah. So that's my advisor report, all right? I'll hand it off to Jen.
Sorry about that, my voice is kind of GG for a week, so bear with me. Happy Senate, it's been a minute. Not too much for me today. Hope semester's been going great. As I was last semester, I'm always going to be a beacon of support for anyone in this room, so if you need me, feel free to reach out when I'm in the office or via email. Always here to help. With that being said, there's a little bit of a but there. When I'm in the office, I usually do my best to meet you guys where you're at in your own spaces, i.e. the committee room or the lead room. But there are times where I'm staking out in the GA office. I just want to remind everybody that the GA office is a shared space, so please, 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 if you're looking for me, just knock before you walk in, barging in and screaming, "Where's Jay?" Isn't it conducive to the workplace environment that we have set up in that office? And again, it's not just my office. It was just me. I mean, I probably shouldn't be okay with you barging and screaming, "Where's Jay?" But it's not here nor there. Just make sure we're being attentive and respectful of all the GAs in that space. And yeah, that's all we have though. Thank you.
Amazing. This will now bring us to gallery members. So gallery members, it's a time where you are acknowledged, and if any wish to speak at this time, you may do so. But if not, then we can move on. Amazing. So this will take us out of public session and into old business. However, there is no old business today. So that will move us right along to new business, beginning and ending with resolution number 53, a resolution to create a disc golf pilot program. Is there an author statement for this resolution? Oh, never mind. Yes. All right, first reading. I'm ready. So resolution number 53 will go to the University Life. So this will now take us out of new business and into other business, beginning and ending with the appointment to the Executive Cabinet, starting with the Secretary of the University Life, Pierce Langan. Do you have a candidate statement?
I do.
So hello everybody, my name is Pierce Landon. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a sophomore global affairs major, and I am currently the Undersecretary of Student Involvement. Additionally, I've served a year in student government in the Student Senate as a Vice Chair of Diversity and Institutional Affairs. And in my time as Undersec of Student Involvement, I've been able to plan multiple events and help organize a number of projects for SG, including the FSL NSG Patriot Pantry Drive, the RSO Summit, and I'm currently working with VP Eventing on the Adulting 101 initiative. It's an initiative where we're going to try to teach adulting skills to college students, anyone who would like to listen. Apart from SG, I serve alongside Senator Watt as the QSLC liaisons to SG and vice versa. I work as a student ambassador for the Center for Culture, Equity, and Empowerment, and I play the trumpet in the Green Machine Pep Band. Woohoo! Some initiatives I want to work on this semester, whether I'm secretary or not. We need an Instagram for ULife. I think that's very obvious. I want to work more with cultural RSOs and spring farmers markets to help elevate local businesses owned by people of color. And I want to make ULife more accessible for everyone. Some complaints I had last semester were that it felt, especially for the undersecretaries, that we didn't always have a seat at the table. Even though it was offered, it wasn't actually offered. And I want to extend an actual invitation on farmers markets, on Gold Rush, on whatever we're working on, to anyone who wants to be a part of it. Yeah, I intend to work closer with ULife undersecretaries, with the new ULife chair, and I want us to be more efficient, more transparent, and more intentional about how we use our time and about what we're trying to do. And this wasn't in my statement, but I'll say it anyway, that I look forward, if I do get the position, to work with Chair Williams, and I think we'll work very well together. So, yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. This will now bring us on to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate?
Could you explain your role as kind of like dictated by the code and your understanding for that?
Yeah, so I do, sorry. Basically what my job is kind of one of those vague ones where you can make it what you want to make it. So I've interpreted that as trying to cultivate diversity and everything like that, but trying to pair that with events that we plan with University Life as a larger organization. I know Liam, every time the word student involvement is anywhere in the email, he likes to CC me, and I appreciate that. But I like to see student involvement as one of those positions where you can bend it to what you think the students need and where you think we can get involved more. So that's what I've seen my position as, and whoever takes my position in the future, I look forward to seeing how you interpret the position. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Beautiful. Are there any further questions for the candidate? All right, seeing none, I'll ask the candidate to leave the room. All right, this will now move on to discussion debate on the candidate at hand. Is there any discussion debate for the candidate at hand? Pro tempore, Jim Nachman.
Yeah, we all know Pierce. He's good at his job. I think he's going to be a shoo-in for the position. I'm going to vote to confirm. Don't see any reason not to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other? Any other discussion debate? The candidate at hand. All right, seeing none, Clerk Connell brings forward.
Is there an executive report for the candidate?
Is there an executive report?
I'm promoting him because he deserves it. That's all.
All right. We will now move on to voting. Clerk Connell.
All right, when I call your name, if you'd like to vote in support of the candidate's confirmation, please say aye. If you wish to vote against, please say nay. If you wish to abstain, please say abstain. Starting with Alon.
Aye.
Applebaum.
Aye.
Arcidia-Cohen. Not here. Babar.
Aye.
Chappelle.
Aye.
Aye. Curtis.
Aye.
Russell.
Aye.
Driggers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris.
Aye.
Hepler.
Aye.
Inga.
Aye.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Terminal.
Aye.
Kobsa.
Aye.
Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo.
Aye.
Major. McCall.
Aye.
Musa.
Aye.
Palumbo.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Lawat.
Aye.
Sedlak.
Aye.
Shayaslam.
Aye.
Srivastava.
Aye.
Sol.
Aye.
Tatum.
Aye.
Vito.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Speaker White.
Abstain.
Every time. Zaman. It's not here. And Zondir.
Aye.
It's 31 in the affirmation. 1 abstention.
And that it passes. So we'll invite them back in. Alrighty, congratulations. Now, Secretary Landon. This will bring us to the appointment for the Undersecretary of Student Involvement, Sonia. Excuse me if I say the last name wrong. Yattavamurthy?
You got it somewhere. You're good,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have a candidate statement?
Yes, I did. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Sonia Yattavamurthy, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm an international student here at Mason. I'm a sophomore, and I'm a bioengineering major. I'm a really good fit for this position because I understand how important it is for students to get involved in campus. The people who feel like they found a community within campus are more likely to stay and more likely to have a better chance at academic success. Yeah, academics are important, but getting involved can benefit everyone. Better time management, better mental health, and more multicultural awareness. And promoting this not only will give the students the opportunity to, again, have a healthy balance, but also promote personal growth. As we all grow and learn from cultures and experiences different from our own, and by promoting student involvement, we can help these people connect. So in order to promote this, I would like to constantly ensure that surveys are being conducted. When I see people not attending events and I ask my friends what's wrong, why are you not attending, and a lot of them just answer, what's in it for me? They're not really interested in the major activities being conducted, like falls within Mason last semester, last year. And I want to see what the students are interested in, what they want to participate in, what they look forward to, and cater to those interests. And most importantly, incentivizing engagement. I know we do give a lot of free merch and free food, but again, not that many great options, and a lot of them, again, are not good with it. And by doing all of that will help students feel like a true school spirit, and that by itself will encourage students to participate in the activities going forward. I myself participate in clubs like STEMinist, Girl Up, and cultural ones like Indian Student Association and Pakistani Student Association. And a previous work role that I feel like would make me fit for this one is that I was also in the Senate of my senior year in high school, and I took a big role in organizing several activities and events all throughout the school year. And this helped me not only receive feedback from students, but also take their suggestions in planning events moving forward. Thank you.
This will now bring us to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate? Senator Applebaum?
You want to go first?
I yield my time to Secretary Landon.
What made you interested in the position to begin with?
As an international student here, first, I didn't find a lot of places that I did see the flyers and the advertisements about like the events being conducted, but I didn't really see why I would be interested. Yes, it did. And even when I went to these things, I didn't exactly feel the school spirit. I feel like that made me push myself away from attending, so I want to make sure there's an improvement in that area.
Does this answer your question?
Yeah.
Is there anyone else from the gallery who wishes the floor at this time? I yield the floor.
Beautiful. Senator Jacobs.
So what does the candidate kind of understand about student involvement and also kind of just like the office that we have here on campus and the numerous offices that we have within student involvement? And most importantly, what do you hope to bring to this office, to this position?
As you had mentioned before, it is kind of vague and it's what you want to make out of it by the end of the day. But I definitely want to see more advertising of the events being conducted. But again, I spoke to a lot of my friends. They were not even aware that some of these things were being held on campus and that they missed it. And I want to make sure that all the students have something in these events that they're interested in and want to attend.
Does this answer your question?
Yes, I did.
Beautiful. Senator Applebaum.
I know that you mentioned that you want to reach out to the student body. I think you mentioned surveys and stuff of that kind. We've tried a lot of stuff, and sometimes it doesn't go super well. So I guess I want to ask, how do you face adversity? If something is unsuccessful, how do you withstand and continue to push forward and seek your goals?
Definitely looking at where things went wrong and trying to sit everyone down and get their opinions is very important because everyone's concerns are important to moving forward. But I would honestly just listen to it and make sure that they get what they want rather than pushing back whatever they want to bring on me. So yeah.
Does this answer your question? Senator Lam.
Yeah, I know you said you wanted to advertise different events. Like, can you give us like some ideas as to how you want to do that? Just like feel.
Okay, so we do. I know that student government has like a social media account or whatever. I want to somehow make a bigger outreach, and definitely more flyers and posters around campus, maybe bigger in sizes, and yeah, and things like that.
Beautiful. Any other questions for the candidates? Alrighty. Seeing none, I'll ask that the candidate leave the room. And is there an executive report?
So she actually applied for the Secretary of DAMA position, and unfortunately we weren't able to give her that position. But in her interview, she mainly talked a lot about student involvement and just events that she would like to see on campus, which I thought very much correlated to the Undersecretary of Student Involvement. And then at the time, we kind of decided that Pierce was going to run to be Secretary of University Life. So I was like, I think you're perfect for this role. So then I followed up with her, see how she gathered, being Undersecretary of Student Involvement. And she really seemed to like that position and really wants to be a part of student government, especially as an international student. You're not really able to put yourself out there as much as others due to, cultural differences. So I'm really glad that she was able to apply for this position and get herself out there. So I think she will do very well in this position, but also give us more connections to organizations that we haven't really partnered in the past, especially STEM organizations, which is what I loved about her. She talked a lot about partnering with a lot of the STEM orgs that we really have never reached out to in student government. So I think she provides a wonderful insight to those orgs as well. So I hope you all can say yes. Thank you.
So now moves on to discussion debate on the candidate. Is there any discussion debate on the candidate? Senator Applebaum,
I liked everything that Sophia just said, and I also liked the way that she responded to all of the questions during question time. I think she's cool.
Sure. So the candidate has a clear plan, and as previously established, the spring semester has already started, and we need people who are able to execute on a plan with a very short turnaround. The fact that the candidate already has a plan means the candidate probably will succeed in this position. I'll be voting to confirm. I hope you all join me.
Secretary Landon.
Speaking from experience in the role, I know there can be a lot of times where things don't go the way you want them to, or they don't go as planned. And I feel like the way she responded made me feel like she's able to handle when things don't go the way that they're supposed to go. And I feel like she'll be an adoptable candidate. I feel like she should be.
Thank you. Any other discussions? And Senator Minzer.
I just wanted to quickly speak of her character. She's a very friendly person. She wants to know everyone and be really positive all the time. So I just want to know that she'd be really nice to work with in general.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion debate for the candidate at hand? Ready? Seeing none, I'll quick comment bring us to a vote.
All right, when I call your name, please state your vote, starting with Alam.
Aye.
Applebaum.
Aye.
Babar.
Aye.
Chabelle.
Aye.
Aye. Curtis.
Aye.
Dresser.
Aye.
Driggers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris.
Aye.
Hepler.
Aye.
Inga.
Aye.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Chaminade.
Aye.
Kosel.
Aye.
Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo.
Aye.
McCauley.
Aye.
Munistar.
Aye.
Palumbo.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Rawat.
Aye.
Sedlak.
Aye.
Shayaslam.
Aye.
Srivastava.
Aye.
Soul.
Aye.
Tatum.
Aye, and point of personal privilege, I ask to leave the chamber.
Vito.
Aye.
Speaker White. Williams.
Aye.
White.
Abstain.
Zunder.
Aye.
There's 31 in the affirmation, 1 abstention.
And with that, the candidate passes. Can someone please put them back in? Congratulations. This will now move us to the appointment of Secretary of Diversity and Multicultural Affairs, Zoe Winter. Do you have a candidate statement?
I sure do. I'm going to sit for mine. Hello. Good evening, everyone. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Zoe Winter. My pronouns are she, they. Before I begin, I do want to say I am recovering from a concussion, so please just be patient with me. I might misspeak or process something a little bit slowly. Just be patient. So to begin, I want to tell you all a little bit about myself. I am very aware of the way I present, which is to say a cis and straight-passing white woman with no visible disabilities of any kind. I know that the way I appear to others gives me a lot of privilege when it comes to interacting with those in positions of power, and as someone involved in the Department of Diversity and Multicultural Affairs in general, I think it's really important for me to acknowledge that. That being said, as is often the case, there is more than meets the eye. As previously stated, my pronouns are she, they, and because gender and sexuality are complicated and fluid aspects of identity, I currently identify as queer, but next week, who's to say? I'm also Jewish, which is one of the most important aspects of my identity, and throughout my life has been significant in shaping my personal moral compass and also my interpersonal relationships. This also goes a little into my awareness of my privilege. I would never ever pretend to know more about the experience of a given marginalized group than members of that group, but being Jewish does certainly give me a unique perspective as a marginalized person, which I can discuss more later, but I think that perspective is missing in many ways from this body. But yeah, I can talk more about that later if anyone wishes to know more. On top of this, I also identify as multiply disabled and chronically ill. My chronic illnesses have had a significant impact on my life, but especially for the duration of my time in college. And my disabilities are actually what inspired me to join student government in the first place. So this brings me to what I want to accomplish as secretary. GMU is a great university, but I think that sometimes it claims to be more than it really is. And that, in my opinion, is where student government and by extension the student body as a whole come in. We need to be holding administration and ourselves accountable when it comes to delivering on what is promised. I actually had a conversation with Rose Pascarell at Mason Lobbies about a barrier being faced by many students with disabilities, which is that for reasons I personally don't understand but can speak to, is that students with disabilities like ADHD must get a new diagnosis in order to receive accommodations from the Office of Disability Services. I myself had to get diagnosed for a third time in my senior year of high school, just in case the ADHD had evaporated out of my brain, in order to get accommodations from James Madison University, which I previously attended. I also have a friend who was diagnosed with ADHD in the UK, but in order to get accommodations from disability services or psychiatric care from CAPS, had to get a new diagnosis in the United States. As I told Rose Pascarell, these diagnoses can be extremely expensive because they're not always covered by insurance, because they're not always seen as medically necessary. And she told me that actually Stay Mason funds can be used to cover these diagnostic tests, which I had no idea about, none of my friends have had any idea about, and that is a huge issue and speaks to the greater issue that Mason is facing as a whole when it comes to 6 respondents, 4 of whom I handed the survey flyer to and watched them fill it out. So we need more respondents. There are a lot of you in this room. We should have a lot more respondents. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because Sophia looked at my paper and said, girl, that's a long speech. So I yield, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. So now brings us to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate at hand? Chairman Kohler.
DAMA is the largest department in student government. At a conservative estimate, there's 15 offices that you need to establish relationships with. No one person should have that task, so how do you plan on organizing the administrative approach to your department?
Yeah, so I know that we will, after me, hopefully be electing a great undersecretary of cultural and identity affairs to that position. So I'll be working with that person whom I have yet to meet, Chair Sol, Vice Chair Locke, and of course the whole DAMA committee team. I believe in the power of delegating tasks, and I think it's very important to do that because, as has been previously mentioned in this session, mental health is a thing that many people are struggling with, and I think delegating is something that can be hard for a lot of people, but I definitely want to normalize that, especially in student government, which I think is full of a lot of people who like to take on more than they can necessarily handle. But yeah, so delegating is one way. I also have purposely shaped my schedule for my class schedule for this semester so that I have no classes on Tuesdays or Thursdays, which gives me a lot more time to handle the responsibility of all things DAMA. So whether I'm secretary or not, I wanted to be prepared. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Chair Sol.
So, we've done a lot this year, and as we just said, it's a huge department. So, what in your work in the candidate's work as undersecretary are they most proud of?
As undersecretary, I'm really excited about the fact that we now have a kosher station in Southside, which is, I have not eaten there myself yet, but all of my friends who have say it's really good. They run out of food very quickly every single night. And I'm very excited that that is a thing that's happening. I know that Undersecretary Corey worked very hard on, getting on Sodexo's case and making that happen. And I was able to, bring in some perspectives of Jewish students and say like, hey, we need this. Come on, hurry up. So that's really exciting. And then also the initiative to get the high holidays on the calendar, the Jewish high holidays on the calendar is very successful. So they're on the calendar, and we want to make sure that the major holidays of other religions are also now being considered and being put on the academic calendar. So that's, I guess, the next step that I'm excited to take.
Beautiful. Other Senator Applebaum.
How do you plan on contacting different organizations on campus related to DAMA things and curating ties, solidifying ties, and working together in the future? And over the next 11 weeks, what do you seek to start and accomplish following up from your previous work?
Yeah, so we do actually have a Dave DAMA contact sheet, which I forgot about this, but I spent probably a good 5 hours going through Mason 360, going through every single RSO that was listed as a multicultural RSO, stalking their Instagrams, like finding the contact information and like whether or not they were active. It was a process, but we have that information now. So reaching out through email to those RSOs, making time to show up to their events in person, establishing connections that way. We have our great outreach liaison who can tell us all about different RSOs and what events they have, so that'll be really useful for me personally for making those connections. And then, was there another part of the question?
Yeah, what are you going to continue on from your previous role, and what do you plan on starting that you think you can accomplish that's new with this new position?
Yeah, I think Secretary and Undersecretary of DAMA are not dissimilar positions. It's just that one has the word under before it. I think that they go like this. It's a lot of the same work of establishing connections, reaching out to the diverse and marginalized student populations on campus. So really just continuing that. And as I said, I've blocked out more time in my daily schedule so that I have more time to reach out to people. And I think it's just going to be really important to make those connections, keep them up, and make sure that people know that DAMA exists and that we're here for them and we want to know what's going on so that we can then find solutions, connect them to the right resources. And also the survey that Alana made last semester is going to be really important for that. I have plans to add a follow-up question of do you want to be connected with the appropriate SG resource? There was one response that was from an international student who was saying, it's really hard to get involved on campus. Okay, I want to connect them with the Department of Student Involvement. So I want to make sure that they're connected with the right people so they can get connected to the right resources. And then, people were talking in the survey that there's been talk for a while about a kosher station. Where's the kosher station? Okay, you want to connect them to the dining undersecretary. So obviously the kosher station is now happening, but just continuing to make sure that people are going to the right place and getting the right help.
Amazing. Any other questions for the candidate at hand? All right. Seeing none, I'll ask that the candidate leave the room. Is there an executive report on the candidate?
Yes, again, she is being promoted because she deserves it, and I hope you all can understand that she has worked so hard to get this position now, and I think she brings a wonderful perspective on the disabled community, because I feel like that's definitely something that has been missing in previous years, and now she's definitely uplifting that community and ensuring that their voices are heard. And I also have to mention that she came here while having a concussion. She definitely didn't show that here, but she has a concussion right now. So I definitely applaud her for coming despite not feeling the best. And I hope it shows to you all how dedicated she is into getting this position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On to discussion debate. Chair Sol.
Yeah, so I've worked pretty closely, really closely actually, with Undersecretary Winter, just as I did with Secretary Hall. As was said and as I said, it's a small department for doing such a large part of Mason, which is a whole other conversation. But there's so much to be done, and I'm really excited to get started with her and whoever replaces her as Undersecretary. So
Thank you very much. Any Senator Watt?
Secretary Winter, Undersecretary Winter, she's full of passion. She's driven. I believe she's the best person for this job, and I believe we should all vote for her because she's just amazing.
Thank you very much. Senator Applebaum.
I'm good. I don't see, if there's no real difference as explained by the candidate between the undersecretary and the secretary position, why it's necessary. But I also respect the executive report, as you guys probably know better than I do. I also have a little bit of concern as someone who's also ethnically Jewish, that it seems like a lot of the work was done around Jewish things, but it also sounds like a lot of not because it's Jewish, to be clear, because it's things that she identifies as. It seems like maybe a little bit of self-stuff. But it also sounds like she's really open to reaching out to other things. I'm going to figure it out over the next minute.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion on debate? Chair Sol.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie, I also had a few concerns before I talked to the president about the candidate. But we had a really good conversation about the department. The fact that Undersecretary Winter knows what we're doing already is really helpful, because we're still during the same year, so we're in the role, same things. There was something else, but I forgot.
Big proposal for Jim.
Sure. To address the point that Liaison brought up, I did also notice that I had a few concerns, but then I remembered that it's probably just easier to work on stuff that you personally experience. to bring up the whole point about I recognize that I have this privilege, and as a person of this particular race, religion, et cetera, that there are very specific things that the candidate wants to work on. As someone who is, you can tell, not white, shocker, being, sorry, I was going to take a bit of a detour, but in high school there was an Indian club that I was a part of, and it was led by a white man who was in no way, shape, or form Indian. I realized that this is in Minnesota, so take that as you may, but anything that was brought up by that white person felt like it was just simple pandering or performative. That may be, especially considering the SU track record with various diverse organizations, which we don't want to get into right now. Maybe the reason why Undersecretary Winters has focused on these specific issues. However, I do believe that the candidate truly does care, and that's really, like I've been saying, the #1 requirement for any job in this department.
Thank you very much. Chairman Fuller.
I've been shaky on a yes vote when I saw it on the agenda. From a business perspective, I've had trouble working with Zoe. We were at the ARI conference and we were gonna start working on Patriot Lift. And when I started work on it, Zoe told me that I have to go through her for anything with Office of Disability Services. So that totally stalwarted it. I didn't get to do any work on it last semester. So that's just a personal thing that I've just working in the past that I really didn't like. But I don't mind either way. Who's in the position, I'm sure they're gonna do great. I just had that concern coming into this, and that was one initiative on one department. For a very big role like this, we need to be able to move quickly on things, and stalwarting something like that for 2 months was not good for the portfolios. I yield.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion, any debates? Okay. Senator Applebaum.
I made up my mind and I think I'm a vote in the affirmative. I think I suggest that.
Chair Sol.
I would also like everyone to take into account that the DAMA department for exec is 2 people. So for all of this work, it's coming down to the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary and the undersecretary, essentially. And then the committee, to a lesser extent. But I think it's worth talking about to potentially expand, but for now, everything comes down to the 4 or 5 people that lead the department. So that should be taken into consideration too.
Thank you very much. Chair Chappelle.
Furthering Chair Sol's point, we're into the second semester. There's not a lot of time left. Finding someone new and debriefing them on the entirety of DAMA is very difficult to do. So I think that Undersecretary Winter would probably be the best choice given the circumstances. Thank
you very much. Senator Kovacev.
I do like that she has experience with DAMA. I do like how she's dedicated to advocating for disability and exempt with disabilities. So she seems pretty good for the role. I yield.
Any other discussion, debate, and I'd see none. I'll have Clerk Commonwealth bring us to a vote.
All right. Same process as before. I'm going to call your name each in sequence, starting with Alon. Abstain. Applebaum.
Aye.
Babar.
Aye.
Chevelle.
Aye.
O'Connell. Aye. Curtis.
Abstain.
Dressel.
Aye.
Jurgers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris.
Abstain.
Hepler.
Aye.
Inga. It's not here. Jacobs.
Nay.
Gemini.
Aye.
Kovacev.
Aye.
Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo.
Aye.
McCauley.
Aye.
Munisar.
Aye.
Palumbo.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Rawal. Sedlak.
Aye.
Shreyaslam. Aye. Srivastava.
Aye.
Sol.
Aye.
Cato is not here. Vito.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Speaker Weiss.
Abstain.
And Zalgiris.
Nay.
That is 24 in the affirmation, 2 in the negation for Mr. Johnson. It's 4 abstentions, 2 negations.
All right, and with that, they pass. So we'll invite them back on in. Beautiful, congratulations. Just want to make an announcement to everybody. We just spent roughly almost 30 minutes on a single person, and cabinet starts in 5 minutes. And we have 4 more people to go through. So just kind of a little PSA to all the senators and all the candidates. You can just like keep the candidate statements and questions and answers a minimum. And I'm also going to raise a point of personal privilege and ask that Clerk Connell brings the timer back up just so people can see how long they're taking. That would be amazing. So not going to confine anything, just want you guys to see how long you're taking. So with that, we're going to be moving on to the Undersecretary of Cultural and Identity Affairs, Zion Hill. Do you have a candidate statement?
I do.
The floor is all yours.
Hi. Okay. My name is Zion Hill, and it is with great pleasure that I stand in front of you today. I'm currently in my sophomore year as a neuroscience major with a health and social policy minor, going the pre-med route. When I told my mom I was applying for this position, she was like, why are you trying to be a student in student government and you're a pre-med major? But for as long as I can remember, I've been in politics. I remember like being 5 years old and waiting outside in like freezing temperatures to listen to Obama give his speech at Harvard Park. And like since 2016, I've like volunteered at the campaign polls just because I feel like that's important. It's important to me to help us prosper as a nation, especially because like the state of the nation right now is just crazy, and I want to help better it in any way I can. I remember in middle school and in high school, I ran for president of student government, and my platform was that I just want to help everybody prosper. I want everybody to have the chance to succeed and get where they need to be happy, and that hasn't changed. As Undersecretary of Cultural and Identity Affairs, I feel like it would be my duty to open and create a safe space for all cultural and identity organizations to allow individuals to freely express their concerns or grievances and to be heard and understood. Like for me, the Office of Disability Services and the LGBTQ resource offices have supported me in like my day-to-day life here, and just transitioning here, coming to a big school from like a small city. And I would love nothing more than to give back to those offices, but also give to the offices that don't just help me, and support so many other people on campus, especially people that face bias, marginalization, injustice out in the like outside world. George Mason should be a space for them, a safe space for them, and I want to make that happen. Resolving conflict and building a healthy relationship between these organizations and the student government is also a goal for me. I feel like it's mandatory to strengthen the relationship between these organizations and the student government to improve communication and create a positive environment and build trust, just so we can all serve the community better. In closing, as Undersecretary of Cultural and Identity Affairs, my goal would be to help build stronger connections with our fellow patriots and be a helping hand in a time of need. Words will never be enough to convey just how excited I am to even be in this room right now. But I'm really grateful that I was even given the chance to be in front of you today. Thank you.
This now brings to questions for the candidate, starting off with Senator Long.
Are you part of any clubs or organization at Mason?
Yes, so I'm a part of the Black Student Organization, Women of Color in STEM, STEMinist, and I am currently trying to join Girl right now. I've just been a little busy since it's the start of the semester. I haven't really had time to sit down somewhere and get like into it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Personal privilege, maybe excuse me.
Are there any, Chair Sol?
Do you have any ideas for specific initiatives that you'd like to pursue?
Okay, one idea that I had is being a Black woman on this campus has been especially hard for me. I really would like to get in touch with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion because I have been like basically hate crime on this campus, and when I went to them and asked for help, it was like radio silence. Like I got nothing back, and it was so like disheartening because this was my dream school, and then to come here and be hate crime, and then nobody cared. Like I don't want other students to feel like that, like the way I did when they told me they couldn't do anything for me. So reaching out to them and maybe giving them some sort of training or just anything, honestly, to improve that experience for all other students who might experience that. Definitely my number one goal.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the Senate President?
Your background in pre-med, is that correct? How do you believe you can translate those skills into this role?
Well, definitely, firsthand, I've experienced discrimination and first of all, being pre-med, I want to be a neurosurgeon. And I feel like when I tell other students that, white students that, they look at me like I'm kind of crazy and like I've gotten like, oh, you'll never, like, that's crazy, you'll never get there. So I feel like what I've learned from those experiences, I can bring into this position, and kind of just apply what I've learned into my duties and goals.
Does this answer your question? Any other questions for candidate? All right, seeing none, I'll ask the candidate to leave the room briefly. And is there an executive report on the candidate?
She literally slayed her interview, and I'm really excited for her to be in this position. She really wants to improve student government's relationship with other organizations, so I was able to relay her some of the issues that we've been having in the past in terms of some diversity organizations, and she's more than happy to take up those challenges in order to improve them. So I really hope that y'all can vote in the affirmation because she's very passionate. And hearing her story, she didn't really tell me, the story that she just told y'all. I think that's really impactful into bringing change, especially with the diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. So I hope that you all can vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This will now bring us into discussion and debate on the candidate. Is there any discussion and debate on the candidate? Speaker Pro Tem Nathan.
Sure, I'll keep this brief. The candidate has a plan. The candidate knows what they want to do. I see no reason not to affirm. I yield.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion and debate on the candidate at hand? Senator Cohen, sir.
I think it's important that somebody who has gone through all this awful stuff, this discrimination, is very unfortunate, and I think it would provide a very valuable perspective into student government and how it conducts business with other organizations, particularly those in RSOs that represent marginalized communities.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion and debate at hand? All right, seeing none, I will have Clerk Connolly bring us to a vote.
Starting with Malone.
Aye.
Applebaum.
Aye.
Labar.
Aye.
Chevelle.
Abstain.
Connell. Aye. Curtis.
Aye.
Dressel.
Aye.
Driggers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris.
Aye.
Pepler.
Aye.
Kovsev.
Aye.
Yeah. Jumanov.
Aye.
We'll get to you eventually. Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo.
Aye.
McCauley. Aye. Munisar.
Aye.
Colombo.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Sedlak.
Aye.
Sheislami. Aye. Srivastava.
Aye.
Sol.
Aye.
Vito.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Weish.
Abstain.
And Zundir.
Aye.
There's 26 in the affirmation, 2 abstentions.
And with that, the candidate passes. We'll invite them back into the room.
Point of personal privilege.
A point.
I yield to Saeed.
I move the appointment of Undersecretary of Academic Professional Development next. Reason for the motion, applicant has policy.
So a senator has to make the motion.
Nick?
I motion.
You would also have to motion to suspend the rules, as this was already decided at the approval of the agenda. So,
Point of personal privilege.
Clerk Arnold.
I'd like to move to suspend the rules.
Second. Would you like to speak further to it?
We have to change the agenda.
All right. Any objections? Beautiful. All right. The rules are suspended.
Point of personal privilege.
Clerk Arnold.
I'd like to move the appointment of Undersecretary of Academics and Development, 7th point of the docket, on the next point of the docket.
Is this seconded?
Seconded.
Any objections? All right. It is done. We can still invite the candidate back in. All right, up next we have the Undersecretary for Academics and Development, Samantha Welzer. Do you have a candidate statement?
Yes, I do. Okay. Thank you so much for moving my appointment forward. That really means a lot to me, that I can be here with you guys today and also share my statement and tell you my personal goals for this role. So hello, my name is Samantha Welzer. I use she, her, hers pronouns. But if you just see me around, you can call me Sam. It's simpler. A little bit about me. I'm from Stafford, Virginia, which is about an hour away. One of my identities that I've actually learned about at Mason specifically is my identity of being first generation. As a college student, being first generation is important to me as my other identities due to the fact that I'm empowering myself towards my own education, my own goals, my own academics. I am currently studying business with a concentration in accounting as a first year here at Mason. With that being said, I have changed my major a couple of times, so that fits me a little bit more to the role of academics. I also see that I am here currently for the Undersecretary position of Academics and Development. Even though through a short time I've been able to feel the warm welcomes and such a diverse group of students academically and also, like I said, diversely. From first glances, I can see how inclusive and strong the student body government really is, and that is something that I would really appreciate to be a part of and really hope that I can be accepted in this space as well. Alongside my forward motion to join student government, I work in the Leadership, Education, and Development Office, or the LEAD office, which is right across from the SG boardroom. So I see some familiar faces around here. With that being said, so the LEAD office creates presentations and facilitates workshops around leadership and strength building. We're currently trying to build our office as well. We currently have a few events, so if you're interested, please let me know. I'm also a Mason Ambassador and Secretary of Be the Change, a volunteer organization that focuses around the 17 UN Sustainability Goals and promoting healthier habits around sustainability and SDGs, like I said. Just to make myself a little bit personable, I enjoy painting and working out as well. So a few incentives or initiatives I'm interested in implementing is plans around meeting with academic honor societies and academic offices to better support the needs and foreseeable wants of our Mason community. Like I said, people here at Mason are here for top priority of academics and to get their degree. That is why you're here at a university, that is why you're here at school. So first and foremost, like I said, is a priority of academics and personal development. Another initiative that I would love to seek out my personal self, that I'm also trying to make work in my office, is a back-to-school drive for local and limited-income school areas. They need our support. Like I said, being a first-generation college student is super important to me, and some of those limited-income peoples around our area are first-generation as well. and possibly surveying students for a variety of majors to better support our academic community. I understand, like some of you have said, surveying is one part of the whole thing, but I'm committed, I'm resilient in every situation. But I'm also very much open and honest when it comes to around situations. If you'd love to tell me new things to implement, I would love to hear your thoughts. And I'm also very interested in your thoughts. So my goals for this position is to gain a valid opinion for our most underrepresented communities at Mason, such as veterans, transfer students, or contemporary students. Mason is a large school with a diverse population in not only ethnicity and race and background, but also experience. And indulging in these opportunities will continue to make our community a world of a better place. Contemporary students, like I said, are a large part of our Mason student body, and supporting our commuter population is what will ultimately benefit our population. We are a 74% commuter school, but just to inform. So this position is the main reason why students, like I said, are at Mason for academics in the forefront. And I'm prepared based off my preparation and my other positions. Like I said, I'm a secretary. I also work with the leadership office to push forward my incentives my initiatives and my plans. Even though I'm new to student government and new to Mason as well, I'm fully ready to soak up the knowledge from superiors and engage in dialogue to better our academics from anyone that is willing to share that with me. I'm also prepared to take on large workloads because I do not have classes on Fridays, so I am dedicated to giving my time to student government on Fridays. And I'm more than ready to create the impact on campus and around campus. To finish off my statement, I would like to say, like I said, work for the lead office, so if you're interested in any of those events, please come out to them. We work really hard, and we're just right across from SG, so if you have any questions, you can come visit us as well. And I appreciate everyone in this room, and I appreciate the idea of student government and working with a mentorship system and being able to receive the wonderful network and connections that you guys can all provide, and just ready to be a part of everything. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Now move us on to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate? Chairman Call.
For personal privilege, I gotta go.
Any questions? Any questions?
All right. What is one specific initiative the candidate wants to work on while in this position?
So, like I said, my one specific that I really would like to be a part of is focusing on meeting academic offices like the provost office, registrar's office, financial offices, like it says in the code of this position of academics and development. So just making sure that I can stay resilient, stay on that outreach goal, just to make sure, and just to hit home, just to be able to be there for them, as well as provide our resources as well in any way, shape, or form. Does that answer the question?
Beautiful.
On a personal privilege, I'd like to move to end the question period at 7:15.
Would you like to speak further to it?
It's been a long night.
All right. Any objections? All right. Hearing none, the questioning period will end at 7:15 p.m. Any other questions, Senator Curtis?
Really quickly, what would you say is a trait of yours that is best for the 12?
I would say like a general trait that I personally work very hard on, and I've been prided in most situations on this, but my organization, I know it's a bit general, I know it's a bit broad, but I promise you I have 6 different calendars, I have several different notebooks, I'm always on top of it. I have my Excel spreadsheet that almost every college student has. I am very much on top of things. I put myself out there to make sure that everything that when I do it is also to the best and fullest of my ability. So.
Does this answer your question?
Yes.
Beautiful. Any questions?
I'm just interested in how you heard about the position and what prompted you to run.
Mostly what encouraged me to run for student government, but also specifically academics and development, is the ability to deep dive into academics. Like I said, I've changed my major twice, so I'm very much interested in finding better ways to support students academically. I've also been a part of the College of Science, and that is something that is very important to me to better the College of Science. Like I said, since I was in it, I just want to make sure that I can do my best to support those students, even though I've left that college and gone into business.
it's a good place to be, but it's also a difficult place to be, because obviously science is a hard part of learning. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Beautiful. Any other questions for the candidates? All right, seeing none, I'll ask the candidate to leave the room at this time. Is there an executive report?
Well, she had to go, so there will be no, I guess, putting her back here. But yeah, her interview was really great. This is actually her second time applying to be in a cabinet position, because unfortunately when she did apply for the fall semester, we weren't able to grant her position. So I really admire her drive to apply again after being rejected. I know it's hard for a lot of people to apply to things that you were once rejected from. She came back really motivated for this position, and I really want to give it to her because I think she'll work really well with Zide and Ellie, of course. So yeah, if you all can vote, yes.
Amazing. This will now bring us to discussion debates. Candidate, is there any discussion debates in the Applebaum?
That was like, I really liked her. She went to code. That's a real big deal.
I talked to this candidate last time, and the candidate talked about how awful chem was that she switched her major. So anyone who's dealt with that, I think would be great for academics.
I want people who are mad at the chem department, so yes, please. Chem department sucks apparently. I'm a government major. I have fun, so with that, you.
Can confirm as a STEM major that gov majors have it so easy, but also organization is extremely important, especially getting things done, and that was great.
I think she's a wonderful fit. I just want to say that she seemed to be like the most well prepared and giving like one of the best speeches. No, nothing against any of the wonderful speeches we've heard tonight, but everything she said was just clear to the point. She said a lot of things, and she said a lot of things. And I just think that was really admirable, and I think that she's going to do a wonderful job. I yield.
Thank you very much. Speaker Pro Tem for Manatee.
Really quick, candidates said that they had a spreadsheet as if it was just a completely normal thing. They're like, no, yeah, just like every college student. I don't have a spreadsheet. If you couldn't tell. So yeah, I think that'll be a perfect fit. I yield.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion from the stage? All right, seeing none. O'Connell.
Starting with Alon. Aye. Applebaum. Aye. Labar.
Aye.
Chevelle.
Aye.
Connell. Aye. Curtis.
Aye.
Dressel.
Aye.
Triggers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris.
Aye.
Hepler.
Aye.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Chaminade.
Aye.
Kovacev.
Aye.
Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo. McCauley.
Aye.
Musa. Colombo.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Sedlak.
Aye.
Chesson.
Aye.
Srivastava.
Aye.
Sol.
Aye.
Vito.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
White.
Abstain.
And Zambia.
Aye.
There's 28 in the affirmation, 1 abstention.
Beautiful. We're not coming back.
Oh.
All right, moving on to now the appointment for the Undersecretary for Community Relations and Civic Engagement, Gabriella Grabowska. I'm so sorry.
Grabowska, you got this. Let me walk over here so we can all see each other. So, good evening, student government. Firstly, I would like to say thank you for my nomination. Also, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for Mason Lobbies. We made it happen. We did a great job. We did the best for our school and our home here at Mason. Some of you may already know me. I'm Gabriella. I'm majoring in government and international politics with a concentration in political behavior and identity politics with a minor in political communication. I'm sorry about how long it is. It just sounds too scary. In fact, it isn't. I'm here today to show that I'm ready to become an Undersecretary for Community Relations and Civic Engagement and join your great team. I'm happy that after all of the terrifying events that I've been through in Ukraine, I ended up here at Mason. I got so much support after my interview for SHAR, and right now, in return, I'm ready to do the best for Mason, as they've just done for me. To show my dedication to GMU, I would love to mention my involvement on campus. To start off, I'm in top 3 the most active students of my learning community, Democracy Lab. This year, I've become a Patriot leader, as well as some of members of student government who unfortunately left. And by the way, thank you for staying here, because I thought I would talk to you like as well, I worked with new student and family programs during family weekends in October last fall. I participated in Mason as Got Talent and shared my message about the war. Past experiences that will undoubtedly help me succeed in this position include interviewing famous Ukrainian politicians on a TV channel, being scared of public speaking, afterlives, not anymore. I translated an interview for NPR and volunteered in orphanages. I was a law firm intern and a social media manager. And for 10 years, I've been a professional athlete, winning Ukrainian and European championships. I value democracy. At this position, I would emphasize the importance of participation in elections. I would invite Mason faculty from Shar School of Policy and Government to talk about how elections work, how people can be manipulated by shortcuts, and also how to make educated choices. I actually made a semester project for one of the classes that I'm a learning assistant at this semester on political psychology. During this semester, I will also analyze data of the voter turnout experiment that was held last semester, and I hope that this data will help me to raise the turnout on campus and prove that Mason votes matter. One more goal for me is to organize field trips so our students have an opportunity to interact with local businesses and governments and look at how they actually work. We can all cooperate with Representative Connolly as well as long as our senators here are his interns. And also, I made a pretty good connection with him during one of the events of Democracy Lab. Also, I would love to work with Alumni Association on the project Patriot to Patriot. That's a truly fantastic initiative that almost no one knows about. Having an alumni only one call away makes it so much easier to get answers to your questions. So, if we cooperate, we can strengthen the bonds of our big Mason nation. Thank you for your attention.
Alrighty, this will now bring us to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate?
Yeah, can you speak to one specific initiative you'd like to work on for next semester?
As well as I just mentioned, I would love to work with Mason alumni and Mason Votes to work on initiatives that can connect our students, because unfortunately some of them are too shy to go to professional offices and talk to very serious people. But if we're having our community very closely connected, we can help our students feel more comfortable.
Any other questions for the candidate? Alrighty. Well, seeing none, I'll ask that you leave the room at this time. I'll now turn it to Sophia for our executive report.
Yes, I think, love all the cabinet members who are here right now, but I think out of all the people I've interviewed, she truly just blew my mind for some reason. She just is so freaking cool, and she definitely was such a light during Mason lobbies, and especially the tuition town hall. She has attended our previous student government events just to know us a little more, and I'm really hoping that you all can say yes to her, because she really is a huge light. Why am I holding this book? And would be a wonderful asset to student government. She applied for 3 positions that were open, and it was honestly so hard to see which position she fit best, because I felt like she would have done a perfect job in all 3 of them, and I wouldn't complain. That's how truly powerful she is, and I really hope that you all can vote yes on her. Thank you.
So now bring us into discussion and debate on the candidate. Is there any discussion and debate on the candidate? Senator Vito.
So I live next door to her, which may make me biased, but I see all the work that she does on a daily basis, and I can tell you that she's well prepared, well organized,
and just very, very involved and has a lot of connections on campus. Even though she's only a freshman and a semester in and an international student, I think she's doing a great job at getting involved and making these connections. So I think she'll be a great fit for the position, and I hope it's going to be permanent.
Senator Racine.
I would very much like to see student engagement with us go up, and I think she'd be a good person to have on board, so she's got my vote, I yield.
Senator Jacobs.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Senator Racine and Julia just said. Going off of what she said, if you don't know her, she just has this ungodly ability to connect and know everybody. It's a lot like what Liam has. It just makes them so good at what they do. And so, also she shouted out my boss, so gotta love Jerry. I love her initiative ideas. I've had lots of similar thoughts. It's her own, so yeah.
Awesome. Any other discussion, debates, and at hand? Lovely. All right, clerk comment.
Starting with Alon.
Aye.
Applebaum.
Aye.
Labar.
Aye.
Chevelle.
Aye.
Connell, aye. Curtis.
Aye.
Russell.
Aye.
Triggers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris.
Aye.
Hepler.
Aye.
Jacobs.
Aye.
Gemini.
Aye.
Kovasa.
Aye.
Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo.
Aye.
McCauley.
Aye.
Munisar.
Aye.
Palumbo.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Sedlak.
Aye.
Shayaslam. Srivastava.
Aye.
Sol.
Aye.
Vito.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Weish.
Abstain.
And Sundar.
Aye.
There's 28 in the affirmation, 1 abstention.
That they pass. We can let them back on in. Congratulations. This will now move us on to our last appointment of the night. For the appointment to the Undersecretary of Student Health Services, we have Jared Anderson. Do you have a candidacy statement?
I do. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I hope we're all doing well. First, I'd like to express my gratitude for being here. I'm very honored to be selected for this position of Undersecretary of Student Health Services, and I'm grateful that you're able to hear me out. So, because I think health is a bit of a broad topic to uncover, I'd like to share what interested me in this role and what stemmed my interest to apply. For one, I have worked and volunteered as an emergency medical technician on an ambulance for several years now. And I found that providing emergency care to men to dozens of patients really gives me a first-hand experience of how big health has an impact on our lives and how health really gives them, allows us to have a lot of different experiences in our lives. So I think that's really important to mention. Secondly, I myself have lived with a majority of chronic health problems for the majority of my life, which has also given me a lot of insight onto how one's health problems can affect them and how I think that working to help people with the health problems can have a lot of very big effects on their life. Coming to a college setting, I think that focusing on health is so vital, especially because there's a lot of new experiences mixed in for a lot of students here at college. And I think that if we can help students with their health, it can help lead to their ability to thrive and have a lot more positive experiences. One thing that I'd like to do if pointing to this role is try to connect with students firsthand. I think that health is not a black and white item, it's something that's different for everyone. So communicating with students individually or however they feel comfortable to understand where they feel that their health could be better taken care of is something that I certainly like to pursue. And then working with different organizations to try to help make those possible. Because I think that if we can help focus on students' health, it can lead to a lot of different benefits that can ultimately help the Mason community at large. Thank you.
All right, so now moves on to questions for the candidate. Are there any questions for the candidate? Senator Jacobs.
So George Mason University in previous years has been noted as a very unhappy place. There's definitely a mental health crisis, not only just here on Mason, but around the world. So what would you say is your priorities with mental health, and how are you going to tackle this?
Yeah, so I think that mental health is such an important thing that I think it's starting to be brought more to light than in the past. So I think it's a very good priority to focus on it because I think mental health can have a lot of different effects on one's ability to thrive. I think that communicating with students, either through anonymously or meeting with them to understand why they may be unhappy or why they think others might be unhappy, and any barriers that are in way of improving their mental health is really important. I think that, communicating with students on why their mental health is bad and what solutions you could help work through to improve that would be something that I'd like to prioritize.
Does this answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
One personal privilege. I'd like to limit the question period to 7:34.
Is this seconded?
Second.
Would you like to speak further?
It's been a long night.
All right. Any objections? Beautiful. The question period will be limited to 7:34 p.m. Senator Applebaum.
Make it brief, Ethan. You mentioned organizations and working with those organizations in order to accomplish things. Do you have an idea of some of the organizations that you'd be working with?
I do. So one organization that I had in mind was Office of Dining Services. I have started working for them this year, and I think that dietary has a large strength with someone's health, and I think that communicating with their dietary needs and health go hand in hand. So working with them to make sure that people's dietary needs are in place and they're able to find something that they can eat, it would definitely have a lot of positive effects. Also working with Office of Disability Services I think is very important because people's health and their disability services also go hand in hand. So finding if there's any ways we can improve the link between the two would be something that I'd be very interested in doing.
Can I ask another one? Yep. Just in addition to that, I guess the other question I have is you mentioned a lot of reaching out to students and talking to them about kind of what they need. Do you have any ideas about how you can effectively go about that? Because there's 40,000 of them.
Yeah, so I know that it would be unrealistic to meet with every one of those students. When I did that, I did have in mind was something like an online Google form, so students would not feel pressure to maybe share their problems that they may want to change in person, because I think that could be daunting for a lot of students. But trying to get feedback that we can then use to make changes is one area that I'd like to try to implement that in.
That's your question. Beautiful. Any other questions for the candidate? All right. Seeing Senator Curtis.
Can the candidate speak on knowledge of student health services and the role itself as defined in the code?
Sure. So I'll be honest, I'm not exactly aware of their services in code. I will know from my personal experiences with them that they can help bridge a gap with a lot of people's questions that they're coming in related to their health. If important for this role, I would certainly look at their more detailed responsibilities and how I could work with them to improve any aspect of student health that is necessary.
Does that answer your question? Yes. Beautiful. Any other questions for the candidate? All right. Seeing none, I'll ask that the candidate leave the room at this time. And is there a executive report?
Yeah, last one of the night, everyone. I'm tired. I have to go to exec after this. But yeah, so it was really hard to make the decision. For student health services, it was the most applicants for this position, and it was very scary to see who would best fit, this position because so many of them were very accomplished individuals. However, Jared specifically had a lot more initiatives that he had in mind, and his connections with the Office of Dining would definitely help him in this position, especially when he talked about dietary needs and health needs. I really think that he's perfect for this role, considering that I didn't really have past roles to compare him with. I think he's a really great stepping point in order to, make an impact of this position for future people who want to apply for SHS. So I'm really hoping that you all can vote yes, because he has a lot of big and bright ideas, and I know it will be transcribed to people who are interested in the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we're going to discussion debate. Beginning at hand, is there any discussion debate? Senator Applebaum.
I hate to say it twice one night. I'm shaky. I actually am more shaky after Sophia mentioned that there were a bunch of other candidates, simply because there might be some that impressed more so than the one that was just before us. I thought that he had ideas. I'm not sure how many ideas are within 11 weeks are really going to get executed upon in a way that not only is effective individually, but continues to expand the role and expand student government all around. don't know, I'd like to hear you guys talk about that.
Your Pro Temple, coming up.
Sure. Just during the dialogue discussion, you did mention we only have 11 weeks left, and by that same token, I don't think that any of the other candidates that were interviewed for the position could have also done anything within that 11 weeks up to the standard that we might be expecting. It is a very short time frame for a very new position, and having volunteered in a hospital before, I know that people who volunteer as EMTs are some of the toughest stuff there is. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of commitment, takes a lot of mental fortitude, and it takes a lot of time to work under pressure. So I feel like given the short time period and the experience the candidate has as a volunteer EMT, they'll probably at least get something done, and any benefit is a good benefit, so I probably vote in affirmation.
Any further discussion on the page? Candidate at hand? Senator Curtis.
I'll also use the word shaky, as it seemed a bit strange. I didn't necessarily want to know what they knew about the code, but more or less like student health services itself, because the question that Applebaum asked, it kind of answered with dining services, and then I think ODS, which are like kind of separate, and so I was just more interested in like, what do they know about student health services, and some of the mental services that they, or initiatives that they proposed reminded me of things that might already kind of exist in some form. So I'm a bit shaky, but Arush seems to have some practical experience, so I will vote in the affirmative in trusting Arush.
Chairman Kowai.
Yeah, student health services might be the most complicated of all the different bureaucracies and services, because CAPS isn't even a part of student health services, and then there's an SSAC that's also not a part of it, but they do the same thing. So it's something that needs to be grappled with. So I wouldn't worry much about that.
Chair Chevelle.
I yield to Secretary.
Just short correction, SSAC is not part of SHS, but in the code, CAPS is, but just, yeah.
I will say I am also a bit shaky. I wasn't fully confident in the candidate. I'm going to have to agree with Applebaum that I yield.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of which being the question about code. It's my fault. Like I said, I've been locked out of the website. He couldn't have gone online and found out what his code responsibilities would have been. What his code responsibilities would have been. That's on me. But it's unfair of him to have that expectation if that's not publicly expectable or accessible. Thank you. To Senator Applebaum's point, you say they've only got 11 weeks left. Denying the candidate now, they've got 10 weeks left. I just think that the onus is on the candidate here to show what the position is. They're the inaugural candidate, and I mean, I yield.
Very true. If they don't do well this go round, then the next individual who controls it doesn't have to appoint them. Senator Applebaum.
I get that, and I mean, I don't want to like have it go another week by. There's work to be done right away, but I also think it's kind of underscored by that point that it's the inaugural appointment, and I feel like it's really important to set a good precedent for those who come next, and I think it's a lot easier to do that the first time around and try and kind of prepare. I don't know. I still haven't been on my phone right there.
Senator said that.
I just remember when we haven't seen anyone in this position yet, so perhaps starting something out there would be a really good thing to see first. He is bringing forth ideas to this position. What are your expectations for this position? So that's going to say that with medical experience, being EMS, is that what it was, I believe, like having that, wanting to work with ODS and all that kind of stuff as well, showing that he is willing to make connections to kind of get more understanding of the position and build a foundation for it. So I am in support of that.
I need to Secretary again.
I will make sure that he succeeds if appointed. Working in the EMS, that is hard. Also having a history of working in dining, also hard. I have a great disposition. I'm going to make sure that he lives up to kind of the idea that I had for this position. So if that is anyone's worry, you do not worry about that. I agree.
Any other discussion? Alrighty. Clerk Connell.
Last one of the night, starting with Malone.
Aye.
Applebaum.
Aye.
Babar.
Aye.
Chevelle.
Aye.
Connell, aye. Curtis.
Aye.
Dressel.
Aye.
Triggers.
Aye.
Emery.
Aye.
Ferris. Hepler. Jacobs.
Aye.
Jumbanath.
Aye.
Govisev.
Aye.
Locke.
Aye.
Lorenzo.
Aye.
McCauley.
Aye.
Munisar. Palumbo. Parks.
Aye.
Racine.
Aye.
Sedlak.
Aye.
Shea Sloan. Srivastava.
Aye.
Sol.
Aye.
Vitilt.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
White.
Abstain.
Zaman.
Aye.
And Zondier.
Abstain.
That is 20 in the affirmation, 2 abstentions.
With that, they passed and be brought back in.
I just found out that cabinet just ended, so he'll go in next week. Oh, there you are.
All right, congratulations on your new appointment. This will now take us out of other business and into announcements. However, I saw the event services people about 20 minutes ago, and they do not get paid enough to wait for us. So I'm going to nip announcements in the bud. Unless you have something that's occurring within the next hour, I ask that you just send it in the Slack or send it to someone who has access to the locked Senate chat, like myself, and I can send it to them. But unless you have an announcement that is super crucial, we need to get out of here. So, not seeing that, it brings to adjournment. The time is 7:41, and I hereby adjourn this meeting.